A very good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with yet another exciting series on technology as an enabler of internal audit practice. This program is being hosted by the Melbourne chapter of ICAI. I have with me the chairman of Melbourne chapter, Shri Prabhat Kumar, who is not well, and in spite of his ill health, he is here. He intends to add value to the entire initiatives of the board, and more importantly, to bring laurels to this great profession by his indulgence. I also have with me CA Devashish Ghoshji, the speaker of the day, CA Jayanta Chatterjee, and CA Karthik Rani, my younger brother, who would discuss on the three topics. I also have with me my younger brother, CA Rahul Jindal, who should moderate this session. I also have with me the two very distinguished officers of the board, Secretary, Madam Aarti Bansal, and Coordinator, Mr. Arun Agarwal, and all participants have come here to go home more enlightened. So, ladies and gentlemen, be ready for a very power-packed, very knowledgeable session, which should ensure that you put at rest all the doubts that you may carry on the subjects. Over to Sri Rahul Jindal for further proceedings. Rahul Jindal, as is all yours.
Yeah. Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I would like to wish everyone a very happy Guru Purnima to all my senior colleagues, jitne bhi seniors hai. So first of all, we are together today. We are for one more session to be conducted by Internal Audit Standard Board. So as you know, every Saturday we conduct an internal audit session. So where we have an audience of around 2,000 to 3,000 members all over India. So first of all, now I would like to introduce CA Prabhat Kumar ji. He is the chairman of Malaysia chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountants for his opening remarks. Over to Prabhat Kumar, sir. Sir, you are on mute, sir. You are on mute, sir. Prabhat, sir, you are on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, it is audible now.
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Thanks a lot. First, let me convey my gratitude to Nandaji, our senior council member. So many years I know him. The most jubilant and most lively person ever I have met. He is, as you all know very well, he's not a chartered accountant. He's a wonderful person and a poet. His poems are unique, and I salute, although I write a lot, but he is unparalleled. Now, I would also like to thanks to Deputy Chairman, Sri Rahul Jindal ji, who is also council member, and eloquent speakers and all those who are listening. It's a great privilege for me. The speakers are unique. They have very diverse experience, and I understand those who are going to attend this session will immensely benefit. Especially, I would like to talk about Mr. Devashish ji, who is an expert of business process, re-engineering, risk control and assurance. So, which is a very important aspect of internal control, internal audit. Then we have another CA Jayanta Chatterjee, who has plenty of experience, and he's a perfect blend of the modern technology and whatever he has learned like me in traditional way of doing. We are legacy accountants, you know. This is very true, and we must admit we can't beat the technology. Technology is a bit fast, but still, being a forensic accountant, we use a lot of technical tools, and technology is always in our hand. And you won't believe there's hardly any day when personally, me and my team, they don't learn anything new about the technology. Otherwise, we can't be in this profession. And this is true with all those chartered accountants. Now the third speaker, who is Mr. Karthik, I think he was just here. Yes, Karthik ji, I have seen your profile. Oh, you are a man of technology. Undoubtedly, you are a man of technology who is providing technological services to your clients. Certainly, you are going to convey something which is extremely practical and important for all our members. So I hope it's a very good and very beneficial series for all of them. Now, before I conclude, I would like to say that technology has really taken a very fast pace in last 10 years. Technology is changing the face of accounting. It's a very big fact. It's a reinventing job and creates new job. Hence, it is necessary to learn new skills to move with the pace of change. If you do not change and if you do not learn and relearn and unlearn, you will be behind this race. This is applicable with each and every chartered accountant who is either in practice or providing his services to various industries or whatsoever. See, chartered accountants always have, people have this notion in their mind, back of the mind, that chartered accountants are extremely intelligent community. And this is all over the world. It's not only in India, especially from Indian chartered accountants. They feel that they are faster than anybody else. So in order to meet their aspirations, we have to adapt very fast. We have to change ourselves. And those who have adapted, these costs are being rewarded and with greater opportunities and fulfilling roles. I have seen almost every day, I'm observing this. Those who have really changed, they have changed their entire profile. Sometimes I don't believe whether he is a chartered accountant or he's technological man of technology. Karthik Radia ji, I understand you might, I do not know to which extent you understand computer forensic, but I see from your profile, you are expert in computer forensic as well. And computer forensic is certainly not our domain. This is based on we have two computer forensic experts in our firm. So I know it is not my domain, but yes, we use it extensively in investigation. And of course, now it is going to be used by number of accountants in various fields. There is a common perception, this is very common amongst the new chartered accountants, that automation is to reduce a human force. But I see an experience that it is a way to improve work quality with better accuracy. It gives the client's expectation or the customer's expectation. When I say customer's expectation, customer may be our client, customer may be my superior, customer may be my colleague, customer may be with whom we are working. If they expect faster and accurate result, we have to use technology. Those days are gone. When I still remember, when I first time mastered or understood very well the Excel, oh, I thought I am the king of the king. But very soon, within few, I think years, I knew that this is just a stepping stone. First level of, we call it nursery class, the way the technology has changed. Yes, Excel is still important. It gives you a basic framework, but you have to go beyond that and use all those tools which has now been developed, which have created different dimensions altogether. Using automation means new CAs are expected faster to learn and develop understanding about various tools developed by automations in various areas of work. This is what actually we do. We use 3, 4, I think more than 6, 7 tools. Currently also we are developing one tool with one of the technological firm in US to improve our analytical ability so that the cost can be reduced and time can be reduced. Once the time and cost is reduced, it will be more beneficial because then we can provide some additional services to our client with better accuracy. So that is very, very important, and it is true with everybody. Now, I would like to again say that these expertise which are needed and which must be developed is related to advanced analytics, process mining, robotic process automations, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Since the experts are sitting here, I can't talk more about that. I am user of the technology. I am not the expert of the technology. I must tell you. I must be very frank. I understand a little bit of technology, but I am not. If you ask me to make a single change in the command, I can't do that. It's all done by my those who are young chartered accountants are very expert in that. But one thing I have learned and understood, that those who are in this field, they will have to move and learn and go upwards. Today, Jayant Chatterjee, who is from India, is settled in Malaysia or working in Southeast Asia, is only because he has developed multiple skills. And one of the key skills is adaptation of the technology. And I think, Radiaji, you must be agreeing with me that adaptation is the key to survival. Adaptation as fast as possible. That's all. Enjoy the session. This is, that's all from me. Thanks a lot again. And welcome to Devashish ji, welcome to Jayant ji and Karthik ji.
Thank you for your detailed introduction, sir. Now I would like to introduce C.A. Charanjot Singh Nanda, sir. I guess he does not need any introduction. He has been associated in the council for more than 25 to 30 years. So, but for a brief introduction, so Nanda sir is a present central council member for period 2019 to 22. He has been a council member since 2004, and he is the longest serving presently council member in NIRC. Sir is currently the chairman of Internal Audit Standard Board of India. Along with that, he is also chairman of Committee on Management Accounting and vice chairman of Continuing Professional Ethics Education Committee of Institute of Chartered Accountants. He is also member of all the 26 committees of Institute of Chartered Accountants. He is also a merit holder during his CA times. So Nanda sir has been associated with the institute. He has given more than half of his life towards the development, towards the encouragement of new chartered accountants in the institute. He has been associated with the council since early 90s. So I would like Nanda sir for his opening remarks, sir, regarding this session, sir. Please, over to Nanda sir.
Thank you, Rahul, for your very scintillating remarks. I'm truly honored to be here and into this profession of chartered accountancy. I want to tell you that internal audit is such an area which creates a lot of influx among fellow chartered accountants. And doing internal audit in the right way is very, very important. I'm reminded of a couplet which says, लफ्जों को बरतने का सलीका जरूरी है गुफ्तगू में. I will give the English version also. लफ्जों को बरतने का सलीका जरूरी है गुफ्तगू में. गुलाब अगर कायदे से पेश ना हो तो कांटे चुभ जाते हैं. It means the English version is that when you have to speak, you have to choose the right words. Because if you present rose in a wrong way, there are all chances that thorn may hurt you. Words, presentation is very important. So ladies and gentlemen, give me a second so that I'm able to put across my PPT of keynote address, introduce the topic so that we can listen to the learned speakers. Hold for a second. Is my screen visible, Rahul?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is visible, sir.
Great. So the coverage of today's topic, we have three very important topics today. The first is effect of digitization on internal audit. That shall be taken by none other than Mr. Devashish. The second topic is reinventing internal control in the age of digitization, which shall be taken by Mr. Jayant Chatterjee. And third one is business case for artificial intelligence in internal auditing, that shall be taken by CA Karthik Radia. Now, first session, effect of digitization on internal audit. I want to tell you why we want to use technology in internal audit. There are four basic reasons. First, it has unparalleled speed. Speed and time, meeting timelines is a very important issue for the entire profession. So technology gives you impeccable speed, a speed which can match the best. It is consistent also. Consistency is very important. When you start embracing technology, you feel that you are at the right parlance. The third, error-free output. Whatever output you give has to be error-free. And with technology, you can ensure there are all chances that humanly errors may creep in. And a very nice saying which says, to err is human, to forgive is divine. But in our profession, people normally do not forgive. And therefore, error-free output is important. And for evidences, you have an audit log, which is again very, very important. Digitization and role of chartered accountants. Number one, deliver more value. Yes, when you work in a technological and digitization environment, you are able to deliver more value. You understand what is the requirement of the client, may it be the board or the audit committee, and you are able to deliver the best. Second, more integrated risk approach. Risk is pertinent to a business. We all know that if there is no risk, there is no business, there is no remuneration, there is no opportunity, there is no reward. So how do you have a more integrated risk report approach where you know the risk, you are able to mitigate that risk, and at the same time you are able to take a calculated move on the risk. Third, audit process controls more effectively. The control environment has to be strengthened, and digitization allows you to do that, focusing more on strategic risk. Focus, and that too on an area which may go hither or thither. That is important. Continuing flow of data information. Data, you can do data analytics, draw inferences and use them for your betterment. And last is detail analysis. Detail analysis on various facets so that they could have a benefit of competitive edge for the entire board. The use of technology in every step of audit. First, annual audit planning. When you do the annual audit planning, technology is an important facet. Second, when you manage the task, how the task is to be done. Third is how you manage the time. From management time, having data and doing task management, you go to the data analytics. You find out the areas which need your attention, exception reporting. From there, you go to issue management, which is again very important. The issues that have arisen during the course of it and how that needs to be mitigated. Audit reporting. Audit reporting is again very important. When you go and report to your client, to the regulator, to the stakeholder, to the government, whosoever wants it from you, and then follow-ups so that the open issues are immediately concluded. Next, the second topic, reinventing internal controls in the age of digitization. When you speak of digitization, what is the concept of internal control and the entire control environment? You are aware that digital technologies bring to enhance internal controls. They help us in overcoming the challenges in implementing change. And we are all empowered when we respond to any new risk introduced by these technologies. Very, very important. So digitization puts us at a parlance where we are able to very effectively, in a very robust way, identify the risks, identify the control weaknesses, and get tools to effectively mitigate them. Each new wave of disruption and transformation brings with it new and emerging technologies which introduce new control risks to the business. I go to spirituality where they say, if God closes one door, he opens two more doors for opportunities. Yes, technology, when a new wave of disruption and transformation comes, it brings with it new and emerging technologies which helps the business to grow to unprecedented heights. To implement these new and emerging technologies to strengthen and enhance the internal controls, this entire technology has to be an enabler of making internal controls effective. To transform internal controls, the companies must understand the strengths and weaknesses of each technology and work to mitigate the associated risks. Very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, when I speak to our fellow chartered accountants, we need to understand that ultimately our thought process would be logically concluded when we use each and every strength of whatever tools are there to the interest of the client for which we are working. Internal audit and technology, proactive alerts to the auditor. When you see that there is any exception reporting, things are not in tandem, not synchronized, there is a proactive alert to the auditors. Artificial intelligence is essentially a service provider which brings very candidly the thought process into the right designation. Blockchain powered solutions, solutions which are thoroughly guarded and solutions which are able to effectively give tailor-made solutions to the client. Analytics powered solution. Again, you use analytics to create value and worth. Bot, robot keepers from bookkeepers. Yes, bot keeps the books. Error-free environment, no holidays, no mood tandems. Last, technology requires, solutions require domain expertise of the CA. We have to guide the technological expert, what he has to create and what has to be the inference and what has to be the logical conclusion. The third session of the day, business case for artificial intelligence in internal auditing, which will be taken by Mr. Karthik Radia. Now, bringing next generation of internal audit. The internal audit is an ever-changing profession. I have been holding so many. Last year, we did the entire year. We spoke on empowering SMPs, and now we are speaking on technology as an enabler of internal audit. So we need to understand that in ever-changing times and great demands from the clients, internal audit will need to focus on domains such as skills and capabilities. That is, the skill and capabilities of the resources, way of working, the processes and agile models, and digital assets and solutions technology. So when all work hand in glove, the results are fantabulous, magnificent. Second, we have to extend the use of traditional analytics and now move on to predictive models. You predict what will happen. Automation and artificial intelligence as a stepwise to create value and worth. It would lead to realizing benefits such as audit quality enhancements, risk reduction, as well as increased risk intelligence. Very, very important. Audit quality enhancement, risk reduction, and increased risk intelligence. You are able to portray the risk which may arise during the entire concept. Internal audit in artificial intelligence word. The first, data analysis and visualization. You create visuals which ultimately change your mind to a different perspective. I was in Anaheim. I would like to share something with you. And there I visited Walt Disney. I remember when Walt Disney was inaugurated for the first time. Walt Disney had died 13 years back. So when it was being inaugurated, Ray, the nephew of Mr. Walt Disney, was getting the entire thing organized. A reporter said in a very low, subtle voice, he said, "Sir, had it been great if Walt Disney had been alive today, he could have seen, he could have visualized the whole thing." Ray immediately rebuked him. He said, "My boy, Walt Disney saw this 13 years back, and therefore it is in perspective today. Data analytics and visualization, what you intend the thing to be. If there are any fallacies, any loopholes, they need to be plugged." Second, process automation. The entire process can be automated in a rule-based business process so that there is no deviation from the well-settled principles laid down by the audit committee. Analytical tools, data mining, machine learning, predictive analysis to identify trends, generate predictive insights or optimize for a desired outcome. These are all analytical tools which help you create a great environment. The fourth is artificial intelligence. It is to automate tasks that previously would have been required human intelligence and bring out certain things which need the attention of the management. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am done with my keynote address, and I want to tell you that time has come when we will be able to listen to all our relevant speakers. I would just want to say goodbye to you with one very important decision with the council, very important information which was escalated by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs to the council on 1st of July 2021, when we finished 72 glorious years of profession and stepped into the new arena. The government allowed multidisciplinary partnership firms. Now a CA firm, a chartered accountant can have an advocate, a company secretary, an ICWA, an architect, an engineer as his partners. So our profession will be largely, internal profession will be largely benefited, because taking engineers on board as partners would help us even more create value in a robust fashion and help the clients realize their potentials. So, ladies and gentlemen, not taking much of your time, I'm very keen to listen to our Revit speakers. Three of them are there, Mr. Debashish Ghosh, Mr. Jayanta Chatterjee, and Kartik Radia Sahab. So I would give back the dais to Mr. Rahul Jindal for further proceeding. Rahulji, the dais is all yours. And I want to thank Prabhatji in spite of his very, I can call his was ill, but in spite of that, recognizing his role for the institute, he came down and he spoke exceedingly well. His keynote ultimately paved the way for better discussions into this entire profession. Thank you so much. Over to Rahulji.
Thank you, Nanda sir, for giving us an brief overview of the sessions that we are going to hear from our three learned speakers. So our first session is regarding the effect of digitalization on internal audit. As sir said, digitalization is a very important part in today's scenario. For that, we have a learned speaker, CA Debashish Ghoshji. So first, I would like to introduce Debashish sir. Debashish sir is a fellow member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, member of Institute of Internal Audits, USA, and associate member of Certified Fraud Examiner. He's an alumni of St. Xavier's College, Calcutta. So he has an experience of over 32 years in industry as well as Big Four audit firms. So currently he's a practicing chartered accountant. Prior to that, he was head of internal audit for various big MNCs and companies like Punch Lloyd, Indus Tower, and Stray Infra Finance. So he has a vast exposure of internal audit. He has been the president of Institute of Internal Audits India Calcutta chapter in 2019. So since he has worked in field of internal audit for past 30 to 35 years, so we are very eager to hear him about the digitalization of internal audit and all his practical experiences regarding internal audit. Over to Debashish sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, CA Rahul Jindal-ji, for my introduction. It really gives me immense pleasure in addressing fellow professionals on a very contemporary topic of effect of digitization on internal audit function. I am thankful to the Internal Audit Standard Board of ICAI and especially to CS Nandaji for giving me this opportunity to share my views with fellow professionals. I am also thankful to Mr. Prabhat Kumar of Malaysian chapter of ICAI for hosting this conference. I think Nandaji has really set the ball by introducing our topics. I'll just put my presentation and then we'll start. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Very much, sir. Please go ahead. Very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Friends, technological advancements has dramatically changed the way we live, interact, and do business. The acceleration of digitization in business has transformed internal audit at a rapid pace. Internal audit professionals are trying to figure out how the changes in technology and business environment are affecting.
एक मिनट नंदा सर आप म्यूट कर लीजिए. नंदा सर आप म्यूट कर लीजिए.
Done, sir. Sorry, done.
Are affecting organization and how to leverage the opportunities by digitization. So I'll speak about how the digitization has taken place in the business and how it has affected the internal audit profession as a whole. So now let us understand how digitization has evolved over the last 100 years. So if you see, almost 92 years back, in 1930s, first computer was invented. There was another, so the computer was used by only IT people at that point of time. Then in 1970, revolution came when first personal computer was invented and people started using computer as a business tool. 1990, we saw the emergence of internet, which actually revolutionized the entire gamut of business and how we live and interact with each other. 2010 and almost last 10 years is the era of smart devices, all the technological advancement of blockchain, cryptocurrencies, etc., etc. Now, here I want to touch upon there is always a misconception or dilemma between automation and digitization. Often people mix up these two. Actually, automation simplifies a process to improve efficiency and efficacy of a business process, which results into cost saving. For example, if we switch on to system-based invoicing from the manual system of billing, that's called an automation. Now, what is then digitization? Digitization is basically usage of technology and digital advances such as analytics, mobility, social media, smart embedded devices to rapidly improve performance of enterprises. So digitization is actually improving the efficiency and efficacy of the uh, uh, concerns. Let us see how the driving force of digitization are changing the customer expectation. You see why digitization has come up, because there is customer expectation where customers can access data, customer can continuously interact with the organizations. So basically, the customer's demand is creating the supply. So the digitization, if we see the customer data, organizations are doing data analytics for better marketing, for better service provided. Now, when I am talking about the customer expectation, customer wants everything to be done within seconds. So transaction is getting approved in a minute. So for example, if you are paying a bill to your service provider, you are able to get the acknowledgement after you make the payment. Within seconds, you get an SMS. So this is the transactions being approved in minutes. Gone are those days when we used to purchase our mobile devices or laptops and then ask for an IT guy to install all the softwares and applications to get it started. Now you purchase device which come with built-in softwares and applications, and you start within 5 minutes you start using your new devices. So these are driving forces of digitalization. So all the companies are trying to give more applications, more services with digitalization. And obviously, the last but not the least is the real-time and online reporting of customer accounts activity. I pay my LIC premium. I go to my account. I see what is my accrued bonus over there. What is the history? Everything is there in a click of a button. This is the digitalization which has transformed the way we work, the way the business is carried out. Now, obviously, this is the simple thing which I have told, but now how the big disruption has taken place with digitization. You see, world's largest taxi company, Uber, doesn't have any vehicle of their own, but it has transformed totally the taxi industry of the world. Now you on a click of a button, you get your vehicle to go from one place to another place. And there are other options which are also coming. You can take rental and other things also. The largest accommodation provider, Airbnb, doesn't have any real estate. Skype, one of the communication channel very much used, or for that example, what we are doing today, Zoom. So these are have no telecom infrastructure. Alibaba, the biggest retailer, has no inventory of their own. They are only middlemen. Facebook, one of the biggest social media revolution, they don't create any content. The users are creating their own content, and the Facebook is one of the biggest knowledge bank today. Netflix, which is a in the pandemic situation, Netflix has become more and more popular, and we don't have to go to the cinema hall. At the we use Netflix to see our favorite movies, so on and so forth. So basically, digital disruption has not only started, so it is there to stay. And as an internal auditor, we cannot be shy away from this technological development. We have to understand how these technological giants are working and how internal audit can make value addition to these companies, because internal auditors are working in these companies also and they are doing value addition. Now I'd just like to divert a little bit towards the risk aspect. You see, there was a survey done by KPMG where 20 top risks was mapped. And if you see, there are 4 elements. There are emerging risks, there are established key risks, there are non-standard and exceptional risks, and some are recurring risks. So if you see, you will find that established key risks, we have cyber security, we have treasury management, and while emerging risks are digitization, internet of things, cloud computing, so internal audit should be aware of the established risk and will be updating and trying to understand the magnitude, what are the emerging risks are there, because in many of the emerging risks the magnitude is not yet clear, like cloud computing. You don't know what is the actual magnitude of risk which may happen. So we, as internal auditor, we have to continuously do research and do our study to understand what are the emerging risks. Whatever the non-standard risk, uh, so non-standard risk as an internal auditor, we can take up for one time. But wherever there are recurring risks, those risks we have to keep in mind that it is to be in our audit plan on a concurrent basis. Hence, we can understand from this particular survey that cyber security, cloud computing, digitization of business are top priorities of any business, and this is the future. So, all this risk is definitely redefining the company value through digitization. So there are 8 elements to it. One is customer experience. So digitization is giving customer a better experience of the business, a better knowledge about the products they want to purchase or the services they want to have. You have more channel options. You can go to different companies, look into their products, their services. You go to the blogs, understanding what are the different experience of customers, and then choose your services, choose your product. Digitization also uh, helps in regulatory governance. Obviously, this is from the company's perspective. So company can have more digitized process to see that the statutory compliances are properly done within timeline and with no delays and all that. Now, obviously, due to this, digital culture has to be built in the company. So that is must. Digitization obviously are giving rise to the IT agility and business agility more. Obviously, with all these softwares and other devices which we are getting, we are having more secured access to the data. And obviously, this secure access is giving more the comfort level to the management that yes, we are secure. Behavioral analysis obviously can be done by the company on the customers' experiences and all that. And obviously, one of the major element is the real-time response to anything, because now the customers can put online query and it is being addressed in a real-time basis. So what is the digitization path ahead? The increased use of harmonized and standardized system gives auditors the opportunity to do data analytics to achieve higher quality of audit by transforming traditional way of doing audit to 100% data audit. Gone are the days where we used to make sample. Now we go for 100% audit. So robotics, artificial intelligence are changing business operations and opening up new opportunities for the organization as well as for our internal audit professionals also. Blockchain is another concept which is being adopted at a very fast pace. It allows customers and vendors to connect directly without third party using secured environment. Now, if this is being adopted by the companies, internal auditors also have to uh, adapt to these technologies to understand. So, this digital transformation is requiring new skill sets and shifting to newer IT investment. And obviously, digitization has now become a key strategic thrust for the CEOs of the company. You see, uh, there is always two sides of a coin. While there is immense advantage and benefits of digitization, it is imperative that digitization brings a lot of vulnerability to the system as well. Let us discuss briefly about new digital, different digital frauds. There is currently very little awareness about current technology which can lead to new type of emerging frauds such as social media, e-commerce, cloud computing, digital wallet fraud. So existing fraud prevention mechanism used by organization need to consider threats posed by these frauds. According to recent survey, there is almost 500% jump in online shopping fraud. Various studies also reveal that almost US dollar 5 billion has been lost on frauds over cloud computing network in the past few years. So these are very serious concerns, which as an internal auditor, we have to take cognizance of and have to be prepared because the management will definitely try to get assurance from us that everything is fine or not. I'll just like to touch upon very briefly some of the fraud. Then I'll go to the how internal audit will take up these challenges. So digital extortion, WannaCry, you know it is a famous thing. Hospitals in UK were affected by ransomware, denying physicians access to patients' medical records and causing delay in treatment and surgeries. And what happened that the computers got locked down, nobody could open up the computer, and obviously there was a ransomware which was asked for, and not only the hospitals, there are other institutions, educational institutions, government organizations, transport systems were affected. So this is what we should understand, that this is a challenge which is not unreal. This is something which is happening. I think this is the thing which is the talk of the town, or say for the politician and businessman. Pegasus is a world-leading cyber intelligence solution that enables law enforcement and intelligence agencies to remotely extract valuable intelligence data from virtually any mobile. You see, a lot have been talked. Already there is a petition in the Supreme Court seeking a special investigation team to report to the government how this Israeli software has been used on critics, opposition leaders, activists, journalists, so and so forth. So this is a threat. So the businessmen are also getting affected by this kind of threats. Now you see, cloud computing is the order of the day. most of the big organizations are going for their server in cloud. When organization is adopting to the cloud solution managed by a third party, so you are dependent on the cloud service provider in respect of legal liability, risk universe, incident escalation, incident response, and so on and so forth. So the complexity of the cloud infrastructure and the volatility of data creates various challenges for digital forensic investigation by auditors also. These includes recovery of deleted data, authorization, so on and so forth. Now, in 2019, Thompson, who was a software engineer in Amazon Web Services, which is a very well-known web service and cloud computing, was guilty of wire fraud and computer fraud for hacking into cloud server of stored data belonging to Capital One Bank and other companies of 100 million customers. So you can see the magnitude of this kind of thing. So there is a security breach on the part of your cloud service provider. But ultimately, who is affected? Yeah, the company who is taking the services getting affected. Social media fraud, very common. Debit credit card cloning, money withdrawal from ATM, online transaction using card details, cheating while selling goods online, hacking. So social media has its own unique risks, whether it is phishing attacks, protecting corporate account from compromise, fighting fraud, or defending against social engineering scams. So if an auditor of a bank, he has to understand how to protect all these things. A company's reputation is at stake. So auditor has to understand all these technologies and then adopt to these technologies. We cannot just do the financial audit. These are the effect of digitization which we have to embrace. So for internal audit, it means that IT risk now spans the breadth of firm's operation. So digital risk, as I have already covered, data analytics, cloud, convergence, mobile, social. Now this question has to be posed by us, that whether we are uh, adequately advanced in protecting our company, we are adequately equipped. So what we want to do is to understand key business matters, what are the have understanding of business strategy and operation, leverage on the technology part, must adopt methodologies to use technology, not only what company is using, but internal audit should also use technology to look into the technologies which the companies are using. Because ultimately, we have to ensure that the IA internal audit activities will create business value. System deficiencies. So what are the role of audit going ahead in this digitization world? Very well-known quote by Charles Darwin, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. So internal auditors has to adapt to the changes. Unless we adopt, we will be extinct. Hence, the question is when and how auditors will respond to these changes and keep up with the digitization of the business. So there is no ifs and buts. You have to adopt as soon as possible. It is better for us. So what are the impact of audit plans and methodology for digitization? So cyber security audits has become one of the very important factors. So we have to give emphasis on cyber security audit, data loss detection evaluation, incident response plan review, whether your security operating center is just for the name's sake or whether it is being used as a tool to respond, or whether audit logs are being properly monitored, information governance and data privacy audit, how the data are being classified, how data are being used. So those classification, you have to have policies on data protection. You have to have policies on your classification of data. Mobile technologies and applications, very important. Now everything is in mobile. Your company's ERP you can access. Your company's data you can access. So how data encryption is being done? The data device management, whether there is a policy and how the policy is being implemented, should be in the plans of the internal audit department. And obviously, very important to review the vendor, the third-party vendor and their system vulnerability assessment and preparedness. You see, digital technology has obviously strengthened, but it has also a lot of challenges to the internal audit. Technology is going to have a huge impact how we execute our roles. If we take blockchain, maybe one day blockchain will be part of the internal audit methodology. Now, for example, if there is one day we have to provide assurance over the algorithms, code, and smart contracts of blockchain, how will this and how this is operating? Internal audit have to understand the blockchain technology. So we have to keep pace with the development and started to weave these technologies with our roles. Data analytics and robotics process automation has been already adopted by a lot of internal auditors and big companies. But it is definitely, we have to regularly update ourselves. Now, you see, all these things need reskilling of internal audit. So from the routine, repetitive manual process, how robotics is working, we have to understand. And new technologies will definitely allow us to improve and evolve the way we do things. But for that, we need to understand all these technologies. So there is a transformation in the internal audit role, basically. So transform from incident response to align people, process, and technology. We have to ensure that we are not an incident response reporting manager. We have to identify and detect what are the damage and how we can do that only through technology. If we don't have those technologies with us, we have to have high skill expert, and those experts will help us to understand those technology, and we take young people who are interested. That's why this is a welcome change by the CA Institute of Multidisciplinary Profession, where we can take engineers, we can take lawyers, advocates, everybody who are expert. We can take IT professionals, engineer with computer science who understand this technology, and they can weave into the internal audit role and give proper value addition to our clients. So to approach, IA looks into what is happening in our business, markets, including issues which are previously were there. But what we used to call earlier as a gut feeling has been replaced by the data analytics. The days of gut feeling and sample taking has gone. So what we have to, there are three phases. So we have to understand the digital landscape and identify the stakeholders, review the documentation of digitization, and perform certain scan. So the output will be that internal auditor will have an understanding of the entire digital landscape, including what are the projects which are ongoing. So through that, we identify the risk and risk interaction, document our observation, validate those observations with our stakeholder, and do research on potential impact of risk. So this digital risk has to be put into a risk register, and understanding those risks is very important. And obviously assess what are the important out of these, what are the important risks, are where are the important areas of improvement, develop the mitigation plan for this digital risk. So these all has to be done with along with the stakeholders. So there is very important role of your senior management, board of directors, and an audit committee to recognize this risk and internal audit observation. So we have to prioritize our recommendation and consolidate what are the initiatives and what are the roadmap. It is always better that internal audit head or internal auditor is part of the risk management initiative also. So they understand that this is the risk mitigation plan which is going on, execute the risk mitigation plan. Audit function to ensure the best security practices are followed. All this digitization has put huge pressure on the security. Obviously, these are the things which are known, but still I am reporting that keep strong password for logging accounts and network shares. Don't have to open an executive attachment received from unknown senders. Don't download any pirated software. Avoid mapping of network driven in the system. So all these are very important. Avoid browsing, downloading. You see, there are organizations which has got policies around this, but I have in my career I have found that many of the organizations are not so stringent in implementing these policies. You will find there are people who are using and there are exceptions also, I must say, exception for senior management. So those exceptions should not be there, or if it is there also on a very exceptional cases, we have to have audit logs also. So your CFO or CEO may be given rights, certain specific rights, but not that everybody can do it. It is not should not be given to CFO secretary or CEO secretary or executive assistant. So those are the things which internal audit can look into and really see how we can give value addition on these areas. I am just touching upon the role change on the effect of the digitization on the specific topic. My next speakers will be speaking. So strategic role of internal audit has been changed. We have to understand the key business process, leveraging on technology, ensuring that AI activities create business value, and we understand that we have to give assurance. So we is asking for the assurance. Our directors are asking for the assurance. The stakeholders are asking for the assurance. So we have to change our strategic role. So changing focus, current focus, data privacy, digital disruption, IT governance, everything is there, fraud. But future, there are 4-5 areas which we have to focus, that is digital disruption. This digital disruption is carried on with your company where you are working for your client. As a practicing chartered accountant, you go to a client and you see that digital disruption has resulted in lower of sales, and if you can give value addition to give them your perspective how digital disruption and what should be the way one should adopt technologies to betterment, it will be a value addition, and you can obviously be benefited. Cloud computing, social media is such a vulnerable place where a reputation of the company is at stake. If there is wrong comments coming in the social media, the company can put into a trouble. Uh, you have seen a small act of senior people, like what happened to Coca-Cola recently when uh, CR7 removed the Coca-Cola bottle from the press conference. What happened? That it went into social media and the valuation of Coca-Cola came down. Robotics, AI, obviously we have to adopt. Companies are adopting. We have to adopt also. Internet of Things, obviously, is the entire gamut of internet. So, biggest challenge for auditors, what are the challenges? Technological revolution, massive shift in technology like data automation, blockchain, AI. So it is what we are calling fourth industrial revolution or transformation economy. Trusted in business. We are the trust keeper of the business. With all this disruption, there is a second growing challenge for this profession. How we stay relevant and trusted to the people who rely on what we do. Because management expectation is that we are ahead of others. So we understand the risk. We detect risks, and we, though there are three lines of defense, but definitely the management looks at internal audit that you are the last gate. So we trust in you. We have to also adapt to these technologies. Shifting geopolitical landscape. With the shifting of geopolitical change, such as UK's relationship with Europe, elections in India, volatile relationship in Middle East, there will be definitely be a period of change and uncertainty. There are organizations which are working all over the world. So there will be political changes, and that is going to have challenges. Obviously, we cannot forget the deep effect the economy has gone through due to COVID-19 pandemic situation, and the implication is still unclear. We don't know when the pandemic will be over and what is the ultimate impact on the economy. So internal auditor will be the initiative to risk management in future. A part of the risk management framework, internal audit is also coming. So digitization of core processes, experiment with advanced analytics and machine learning, which I have already covered, enhanced risk reporting, balance sheet optimization, putting the enablers in place. So basically, risk management function may be different in an organization, but that doesn't dissolve the role of internal auditor in risk management. So future, we have to build the right skill set in the organization, secure tools and technology, do ongoing research and development. So we encourage our young internal auditors to do research, do professional courses, which are important to have knowledge in technology development. And obviously, this will definitely need capacity building of internal auditors.
So you can just quicken a bit. We have just 2-3 minutes left for the next speaker.
Yeah,
Then,
I am also having just a couple of slides left.
Yeah.
So vision of audit function in years to come, minimization of manual intervention, so delivering superior customer experiences. Our customers we have to understand our customers with big data, collaborating more closely with business, joint reduction of operational risk, strategic planners, become strong advocate of corporate values and principles through more robust risk culture, and developing and hiring people with different skill who can build and manage new models and data set and collaborate with business and other functions. In conclusion, future audit will be enabled by technology platform, which will be whole new dimension, and it will be flexible and agile audit workforce. Future audit will be high quality, enabled by technology. We have to understand technology is not a silver bullet. It is only as good as the data underneath. So data mining is very important. Implementation challenges of digitization of business process are significant. So we have to also get aligned to that. Internal audit will require to provide assurance over organization threat posed by digitization. I came to the end of my presentation. If there is any questions, we'll take it at the end of the technical sessions by all the three speakers. I once again thank Internal Audit Standard Board for giving me this opportunity. Thank you everyone for patient listening. I sign off now and hand over to the moderator. Have a good evening and happy weekend. Namaskar.
Thank you, Devashish sir, for sharing your practical experiences relating to internal audit and sharing various present life instances such as like of Zomato, Uber, and all these technologies driven companies right now, which does not own any asset, but these have created a technology whereby they have taken over the companies which have been in existence for over 100 years. Like I was reading in the newspaper that Zomato's valuation has become more than Hero Motorcorp, even though their employees deliver food on Hero Motorcorp bike only. So in that way, they are using Hero Motorcorp bikes, but their valuation is more than Hero Motorcorps. So in that way, digitalization is really important scenario in today's time. So thanks a lot, sir, for your deliberation. Now we move on to our next speaker, CA Jayanta Chatterjee ji. So just for a brief introduction, sir has been a chartered accountant and has an experience of over 24 years of post-qualification experience. So he is an international speaker in India and overseas as well. So he has received an award for the best manufacturing CFO from the UK. Other than that, he is an alumni of IIM Ahmedabad, Henley's Business School and Institute of Directors, India. So he has an exposure of various. He has an exposure in various fields such as retail, FMCG, then gloves, fertilizers, and chemicals. So I guess since he has an exposure in FMCG and retail, which is one of the most important area for internal audit, because FMCG is a sector whereby most of the discrepancies are observed in internal audit. So I guess Jayant sir, we will have a good exposure, good experience with practical exposure in FMCG and other retail sectors as well. Over to Jayanta sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. For the members in India, thank you very much, Rahul. Thank you, Nandaji. Thank you, Prabhatji, the eminent speakers and the members. Thanks for giving me a chance to speak today. Good evening, everyone from Malaysia. I'm based in Malaysia. So today we are going to discuss on the reinventing internal controls in the age of digitization. Can you see it, Rahul?
Yes, sir. It is fine now. It is fine now. Sir.
Okay. Okay. So as explained by Mr. Nanda, he has in 2 minutes, he has explained what is the impact of internal control on digitization. He has also said what is reinventing internal controls in the age of digitization, as well as AI. So what I'll do is I'll just take you through a brief nutshell, maybe some examples of digitization, latest trend, what impact, what controls it is there, and how does internal audit need to act upon those controls, and what is the change in the scenario, what is the savings, the likelihood, the industry scenario, all these issues. Now, when we talk of internal controls, we talk of safeguarding of assets, or we talk of improving business performance. Also, we talk of efficient and uninterrupted flow of business. Now, when you say improved internal controls, it comes from improved digitization. Now, if you see, certain companies are already using sensors in manufacturing processes. Distributed ledgers are used majorly in supply chain. RPA systems of automation controls are used, also improving precision and artificial intelligence to monitor the risks. Now, in this criteria, I would like to say, since we are all chartered accountants, the COSO framework remains the same. It doesn't change. But using the predictive analysis and by using the blockchain and drones, the controls are further strengthened. So when new technology comes, it comes with new risks. And then comes the use of cybersecurity and data privacy. So we go to the next slide. What I'll do, I'll just show you a 3-minute video on how intelligent automation is having an impact on internal audit methodology.
Intelligent automation is dramatically changing the way work is done across all functions and can do the same for internal audit. Automating internal audit and SOX activities can lower costs, increase assurance, enhance quality, and create capacity. It also enables internal auditors, like this one, be more effective and strategic. Automation is well suited for high-volume transaction processes. It allows for larger audit sample sizes and the ability to test full populations within minutes, and with an increased testing frequency to provide greater assurance with a higher degree of consistency and quality. Internal audit and SOX departments are saving thousands of hours by automating repetitive, time-consuming activities. Automation creates capacity so audit teams have more time to work together analyzing complex issues and their root causes. Challenges in automation arise when there are variables and procedures and testing attributes. Selecting the right case is paramount to making a positive impact. We created an approach that aims to use standardized processes and quickly identify and assess automation opportunities. Based on the assessment, analysts determine the requirements and they either build or repurpose a solution for automation. We leverage a suite of technologies and use the ones that are best suited for the procedure to be automated. One example is an automated general ledger reconciliation review. The bot is designed to validate that the account reconciliation is approved, validate that the balance ties to the general ledger, identify unexplained and reconciling items, and determine that no reconciling items are older than 90 days. The bot interprets input data from the reconciliation engine, reading the XLS formatted reconciliation report. The bot is capable of interpreting multiple reconciliation reports simultaneously. The bot ties general ledger data within the XLS input file. The red text describes potential exceptions and contains notes for the human auditor. The bot then documents and uploads the PDF work paper as the output. This general ledger bot can save as much as 50 to 75% of the time to complete the test manually and produce reliable work papers while also testing larger sample sizes. And humans only have to follow up on the findings from the bot's work. Leveraging automation can save hundreds, if not thousands, of hours. The result can be audit and SOX departments that are more valuable to their companies and better engaged with business owners. These departments also provide increased assurance and create greater job satisfaction among team members. Supplementing internal audit and SOX with process automation is making a real impact. Adding machine learning and natural language processing will further enhance the capabilities and make us even more efficient and effective.
So I believe you've seen how internal audit is depending on intelligent automation. So wherever high volume of transactions is involved, where large sample size is there, and where lower costs and effective and most suitable competition is involved, intelligent automation holds a big role. Now, it saves thousands of hours. It automates general ledger reconciliation. As we heard, that nothing more than 90 days are removed by the bots. The bots also act as an agent for the user. And here the most important thing is pace. 50 to 75% it's faster. And it said if not in thousand, at least in more than hundreds, there's savings in hours. Just imagine the potential of internal audit improving by including automation as one of the way or tool. We go to the next slide, which is some forms of automation and digitization, which has pulled in across in the last few years. So first one is cognitive intelligence and artificial intelligence. It's nothing but it automates human intelligence. When we say automates human intelligence, we mean visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, natural language processing, and natural language generation. Very, very important. How human minds are used. The next form is advanced analytics. As told by Mr. Devashish Ghosh, that a lot of analytics are flooded in the market and the future is analytics. So there's an advanced interrogation of data. So predictive models are everywhere. Predictive insights, text mining, analytics, continuous auditing techniques, and visualization tools. There are billions and billions of data available in big companies, in Fortune 500 companies and others. Believe me, all these companies don't go into all the minute details. They use predictive analysis and advanced analytics to find meaningful data and to take the decisions. Next is robotic automation. As told by Mr. Nanda, so it's basically rules-based automation of repeatable tasks. These are repetitive tasks which humans do and where a lot of people are required. So robots sit on top of internet and does the work. And then there is foundational analytics. It interrogates data based on pre-configured queries. So we find this ACL, SQL data interrogation and data analysis techniques which are used predominantly by big companies to find out a meaningful data. Now, the most relevant part for finance and chartered accountants is the blockchain. First, we'll see a small narrative on blockchain, then we'll understand the process.
Blockchain. The word seems to be on everyone's lips these days. It's the slightly mysterious techno-wizardry behind cryptocurrencies you may have heard of, like Bitcoin. With near religious fervor, the blockchain believers say it's the biggest thing since the internet. A revolutionary technology that's going to remake the future.
This is one of those key technologies that is actually decentralizing and democratizing innovation itself.
They proclaim that it will make our food safe, our money secure, our medical records inviolable, our online identities truly ours.
What blockchain does very, very well is manage transactions of information, and it does so by securing them as they occur.
It will bypass banks, lawyers, and a million other middlemen, along with their stiff fees, and bring the most disenfranchised people the world over into the global economy.
According to IHS Markit, they expect 10% of the world's GDP to be stored on blockchains by the year 2025.
But is blockchain the game changer it's touted to be? And what does it mean for you?
It's alarming at the pace with which it's happening, and it's happening in virtually every single jurisdiction.
Trust. It's the thing that greases the wheels of civilization. If someone gives you $1, you trust that it's not a forgery, that a store will take it, a bank will honor it, the Treasury Department will guarantee its worth. If you vote, you trust that your vote will be counted. Or at least you used to. Buy an apple labeled organic. You trust that it will not be covered in pesticides. Try to think of any transaction, any interaction that doesn't require some level of trust. It's not easy. But the world is full of counterfeit bills.
But the blockchain idea proved to be a powerful one. And it works like this. A block is simply a chunk of information, a record of something, like how much money you have. When it comes to money, that record is called a ledger. Let's say you have 4 coins. If something happens to change that record or ledger, maybe you buy something that costs 1 coin. A new block is formed and linked to the first one, and the first one is locked, and so on and so forth as you earn or spend more coins. The blocks can't be opened, and the links can't be broken, because they're codes that are incredibly difficult to break. So that keeps the information safe, trustworthy, you might say. But a blockchain includes yet another level of safekeeping. Instead of being tracked in one central place, like a bank, identical copies of the blockchain are stored on thousands or millions of independent computers, all of which can talk to each other. It's called a decentralized network. And with each new block, the chain is updated in every single computer on the network. In money matters, this is referred to as a distributed ledger. Now, if someone wants to monkey with the information in the blockchain, they not only have to break these nearly impossible codes, they have to figure out a way to change the information in every computer in the network, almost instantaneously. So, where a bad bank employee could wreak havoc with your account, he or she couldn't tamper with your blockchain. The distributed ledger is theoretically both secure and transparent because everyone can see it, and presumably send out cyber howls of protest if anything unkosher is happening.
Now you have hundreds or thousands or even millions of copies of that record, and as transactions are occurring, the updates are happening across all those copies. So I can't, for instance, dispute a record because that exchange was recorded in thousands of places.
Simple, right? Not for most of us. Even blockchain enthusiasts occasionally admit that they...
So we have gone through this video. So the major technology is decentralization. So it says that it is applied in food, medicine, online, and the major objective is to bypass the banks and lawyers. So in some forum, they say 10% of the GDP should be in blockchain by 2025. See the pace with which it happens. Now, trust is very critical here. It says that we vote assuming that we are voting for the right person. So here the trust is being replaced with some form of decentralized ledger. Now, the origin, some says that pertains to 2008 onwards when there was a financial crisis. Satoshi Nakamoto, he's named as one of the origin persons. So the block has chunk of information and the blocks cannot be broken. They are held by codes and they are stored in millions and thousands of computers and decentralized. So in a shell, we have seen the video. Now this is an extension of the video. So it says that a distributed ledger of cryptographically secure transactions in a supply chain network. So how does it work? It works when someone requests a transaction. So after the request, it is done to a P2P network consisting of computers which is known as nodes. The network of nodes validates the transaction and the user's status using algorithms. Now, a verified transaction can involve cryptocurrency, contracts, records, and other information. Now, once verified, the transaction is combined with other transactions, and a new block is created for the ledger. The new block is then added to the existing blockchain in a way that this is permanent and unalterable. Here, the transaction is complete. So, what are the platforms of blockchain? So the most famous ones are Ethereum, IBM blockchain, which is very popular, Hyperledger Fabric, then Sawtooth, Archicorda, Tezos, Yosio, Stella, Quorum. FMCG companies and retail companies and supply chain dominated companies find blockchain very useful, and banks. So Walmart was the first pioneer in implementing blockchain. Ford based on auto components, DB, UPS and FedEx based on logistical requirement. So blockchain is very, very useful for highly for high customer concentrated customers. So now let us see how to audit a blockchain. Now, once you start auditing a blockchain, like Mr. Debashish Good has said, the meaning of manual checking, sampling will have a different meaning. It's not the same as it was before. So first, assessment of risks and controls is very important. So to do that, you have to understand how permission is granted to the network and who all is allowed to see. The answers determine the risk and control objectives and testing parameters. So the next step is customize software. So the software is set to reflect the company's risk thresholds and meet the needs. Like the organization wants to monitor all transactions or it wants to monitor few samples. What information do internal audit teams need and what is appropriate for the business leaders? Step 3 is install a ready-made mode. So the solution establishes a read-only node that is connected to their blockchain infrastructure to see transactions as they occur. Fourth is refine approach. As risk and control objectives change, the company can adjust the software settings to meet new requirements for blockchain validation. So logging and testing of transactions. So we also do the logging and testing. We meet that certain criteria are flagged and exceptions which are there for review or not. To provide monitoring and reporting, yes, users view the reports, they see the dashboards where they view validated transactions and exceptions. Flagged transactions can be documented or escalated. So blockchain itself is designed to be tamper resistant, but it connects to peripheral layers, say data entry, access management, storage, which are subject to risk. So auditors traditionally inspect readily available historic data ledgers or audit trials, but in blockchain environments, however, real-time data is checked and do not include historic ledgers that allow for audit. Now, there are some disadvantages of blockchain. So blockchain is not a distributed computing system. It cannot be given access to many people at all, though it has got touch to hundreds and millions of computers. Scalability is an issue. If you want to increase from X to X plus 2, there are certain issues. It sometimes blockchain consumes too much energy. And the users are their own bank. So basically they have private keys. In some blockchain, there is a cost and implementation struggle. Like in certain cases, you need to take the approval of Reserve Bank of India or Bank Negara or the central bank, where there are issues of bypassing certain stages through the banks of checking. Expertise, knowledge, maturity is an issue. We don't have that kind of maturity in all level, in suppliers level, customers level. Interoperability, as I said, that there's not a distributed computer system. And the legacy system, the opening balance ledgers and the breakups, how does it fit into? So there are challenges. But there is a silver lining. There is a future role of CAs in blockchain. The auditor of small contracts and oracles can come into. There is a green field for them. Service auditor of consortium blockchains. They have a particular area where they can look into new avenues. They have an administrator function and they also have an arbitration role to play. Now, how audit and assurance might evolve with blockchain? Though we had discussed what is blockchain, what are the controls, and what are the disadvantages and what are the new areas of auditors. Now, blockchain is basically real-time data. So the files which are provided to a chartered accountant or an auditor is basically an electronic and manual formats as of now. So in near real-time access, only read-only nodes will be given for blockchains. But this will allow the auditor to required for the audit in a consistent recurring format. The auditors can put in a recurring format for the usage. And more entities and processes can migrate to blockchain solution, assessing information in the blockchain, which will likely become more efficient. For example, if a significant class of transactions for an industry is recorded in blockchain, it is possible for a chartered accountant to develop a software to continuously audit organizations using the blockchain. Now, this will remove many manual data extraction and audit preparation activities that are labor intensive and time consuming. Apart from that, there is a huge time lag between the transaction and the verification dates. So blockchain will remove this time lag. And another issue is this will increase the efficiency and effectiveness of financial reporting and auditing. Now, in connection to blockchain comes cybersecurity. As I said, when technology increases, there is a risk, and that risk comes in forms of data access. So when we say cybersecurity, we mean hacking, we mean access of data by criminals, we mean loss or exposed data to unauthorized people, both internally and externally. Now, cyber and information security is recognized as a board level risk and is reviewed by the audit committee in big organizations. The accountability is fixed by some business to protect it. However, technologies that can expose organizations to the risks can also be used to address this risk. Now, this is very important. The cyber risk is the topmost risk, and a company manager is supposed to explain if there is a cyber risk for any company, whether it's an FMCG, retail, or other industry. Essential security controls. How does cyber security works? Now, basically, we need to maintain a comprehensive incidents expansion response plan. It is like disaster recovery plan, whereby you should have a SOP process, which will help the company to recover the data or to put a block on the data. Then there's a patch management cycle, life cycle, antivirus solutions, perimeter defense, mobile devices security, employee training and awareness, and power use authorizations, strict access controls, secure portable devices, and encrypt and backup data. Now, an example of a cybersecurity of a data breach. An average cost of a data breach in US is approximately 3.92 million USD. Now, how to protect this cyber security risks? Now, there are 5 vectors of cyber protection, which is in short known as SAPAS. S stands for safety, which means ensuring that a reliable copy is always available. A stands for accessibility, making it easy for your data to be available from anywhere at any time. P for privacy, that is controlling your visibility. A for authenticity, providing an easy way to provide that the copy is exactly a replica of the original. And S is for security, protecting. Now, there was a question or query raised among CEOs as to how reliable is the data for cybersecurity. 76% of the CEOs believe that their data is very critical and important to understand the risks to which the business is exposed. But only 22%, that is, there's a gap of 50% people who still feel that the data is comprehensive enough for this. Means 50% or more CEOs feel that although the data is critical, but protection data or safety of data is still a concern. Now, analytics play a very important role. Like we said, now historical data trial balances are not used so extensively as it used to be used 20 years back. So we have this concept of data analytics. As we said, big Fortune 500 companies go for predictive, diagnostic, descriptive, prescriptive, and cyber analytics. So these are various forms of analytics which help the companies to find out the objectives and take business decisions and strategic decisions. Now, what are the benefits from this analytics? Now, this enables real-time data. So there's no error in making a decision. It increases overall efficiency of audits being performed. There's a frequency, scope. It takes a deeper dive into key risk areas through data analysis. It reduces cost, obviously, associated with auditing and monitoring. And it enables early detection of frauds and errors. So advanced analytics has got a lot of advantages. So predictive models are very much used in this. Predictive insights, mining analytics, continuous auditing techniques, and visualization tools. Now the question comes, why is big data analytics important? Big data analytics system is very important to make data-driven decisions. This can improve business-related outcomes. Now, examples of business-related outcomes are effective marketing, new revenue sectors or opportunities, customer personalization, and improved operational efficiency. These all are driven or popped in by analytics. So these benefits will provide competitive advantages over rivals. So the existence and sustenance of businesses are also driven by analytics nowadays. Now, how internal audit can check these controls? Very, very important, because analytics are now governing and controlling the MIS data. Everything is through BI and BO. So how can internal audit help? Now, internal audit can help in creating automated data extraction, transformation, in supporting the development of system-generated analytic tools and dashboards in order to monitor business behavior. It also develops data analytics-enabled audit programs designed to verify the underlying root cause. Also, it assists in implementing of automated auditing tools to identify business anomalies and key risk indicators. Now, what does internal audit need to help this? So internal auditors need a sound understanding of the organization's data management system, storage, security, usage, IT applications, infrastructure. They also need excellence knowledge in auditing database architectures and capability to understand the underlying data flow. Now, data analytics should go into data methodology, aligning data analytics to the risks and assurance scope, and also expertise in implementing and usage of data analytics tools software. These are needed by internal audit. Now, one point I need to highlight at this point of time is the COSO integrated internal control framework remains. It will continue, but technology can make the internal controls even more effective, efficient, and pervasive. Monitoring of controls requires disciplinary teams and skill set for the audit specialists, business process owners, and technical. Very, very important. There has to be a discipline amongst the team and set which will drive these internal controls to find out the risks and implicate them. Now, a very important tool which has come up, many people, Mr. Nanda has told and Mr. Debashish has also referred about AI. AI has become a very important logical reasoning of human mind. Now, before we go into the benefits of AI, we need to understand what is AI. I hope everybody knows what is AI, artificial intelligence. This is an old concept as of now, but very, very important concept. So artificial intelligence is a study of the computer system that attempts to model and apply the intelligence of the human mind. It's a branch of computer science dealing with simulation of intelligent behavior in computers. The capability of a machine to initiate intelligent human behavior. Now, who has invented AI? What is the history of AI? Now, I hope everybody has heard about Alan Turing. Alan Turing is one of the noted scientists in the world. In fact, UK made an assessment 2 years back in 2018, and they had highlighted Alan Turing as the best noted scientist in the world. But in that list, one Indian scientist was also there, but he couldn't come in the top. His name was Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose. So whoever's name was selected, his name is now printed in 50 pound sterling in UK. So Alan Turing had made one drastic implementation and discovery. Other than AI, he found a code breaking system during World War II, which had saved millions of people before the war. So that's why he is considered to be a master in saving lives. Apart from code, he did find out and wrote, "Can machines think?" in 1950. And this is how AI started triggering. 6 years later, in 1956, John McCarthy, in their proposed workshop, started first a study of artificial intelligence. This is how the early history of artificial intelligence started. Now, in terms of the current status of AI, we have Siri and Cortana in mobile phones. We have video games characters, GPS, voice recognition, and robotics. In fact, Google has been played a major role in AI transitions and deep learning. So what is the future of AI? Now, AI has got limitless future. Like Moore says, CMU is betting several other AI areas and going to be hugely important in the near future. Self-driven cars already on the way, improved medical care and treatment, very, very important now. Open up doors for future explorations. This is going on. And there is ETC area also. Now, what are the pros and cons of AI? So we know most of the pros. AI has got a lot of advantages. It is highly in precision and accuracy, space exploration, used in mining process, laborious tasks it can do. It can detect frauds and records, lacking the emotional side. It can do repetitive and monotonous jobs. It has got robotic pets and robotic radio surgery. It helps in risk reducing, and it functions without stopping, and it diagnoses and treatment. But there is some cons of AI. It is very highly costly in terms of implementation and repair. It does not act any different. Means if it is fed in, it will act in that manner always. It lacks the human touch. It doesn't have a creative mind. It lacks common sense, obviously. Abilities of humans may diminish. There's a robots superseding humans in certain cases. Humans are becoming over dependent on machines, and the wrong hands can cause destruction. Now, we have understood AI and we have understood data analytics. Can there be a combination of AI and data analytics? And what happens after that? So data analytics, we saw, normally has three kinds of analytics mechanism: descriptive, predictive, prescriptive. Descriptive is what has happened. Predictive is what will happen. And prescriptive is what to do if it happens. Now, many organizations have combined data analytics with automation to help monitor their business. Very, very important. With this, the data of the transaction captured becomes a norm through ERP, real-time, periodic monitoring, and can be used as preventive and detective controls to avoid risks. So this helps a lot of time, a lot of risks in finding out the if any kind of frauds or any kind of errors in there in the data. Big data technologies are allowing more sophisticated techniques, moving from analyzing past performance towards predicting future risks. So simulation and what if analysis are very, very important now. Budgets are prepared in ERP based upon these modules. AI systems enable predictive methods for analysis and aim to derive insights from data and propose the best actions to take in order to achieve a given goal. So in a nutshell, AI, if it is mixed with some portion of data analytics, it gives much better result. Now, what are the examples of AI? Now I'm giving example of Southeast Asia, Malaysia and Singapore. AI is majorly used in large assets. If you see in trains, railways, lifts, airlines. Singapore Airlines employs predictive analytics to enhance their maintenance controls, generating cost savings from preventing flight delays. American conglomerate Honeywell is working with Singapore Airlines to deploy IoT, Internet of Things. So they monitor a variety of components like wheels and brakes and systems. Example, air conditioning and pressurization. Machine learning can help to identify components that are likely to fail, alert maintenance personnel, and prevent delays from happening. Now, the second usage is in banks, which is a second line of defense leverages of AI. Now, when I say bank, United Overseas Bank applies analytics in their compliance function to enhance its anti-money laundering surveillance. So the use of advanced data analytics within IOB's AML framework enable bank to identify risks that may arise from triggers such as new sanctions faster and more accurately. Banks use this as a tool to find out, to enhance the KYC program for identifying new customers. Then they use for high risk clients or transactions to review or get a feedback through AI-driven data analytics and improve in the way it identifies the risk. So a lot of multiple advantages have been used through AI by the bankers and the airlines industry in South Africa. So the next most important analytics for the finance people is robotics. And I believe most of us are aware of shared services. So shared services now majorly uses this RPA system, which is used majorly as a software along with artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities to handle high volume, repetitive tasks. Now, when we say RPA technology, we sometimes call it software robot or bot or mimics of human worker, logging into applications, entering data, calculating, completing tasks, logging out. And believe me, we have seen in the first video how ledger reconciliations are done by bots. So RPA software is not part of organization's IT infrastructure. It sits on top of it, enabling a company to implement the technology quickly and efficiently. Now, RPA involves three key technologies: screen scraping, workflow automation, and artificial intelligence. We finance people are mainly concerned with workflow automation, as we know. Now, hard copies are done with, and we do systematic approvals. Now, the advantages of workflow automation software eliminates the manual data and also increases the speed, efficiency, and accuracy of the data. Now, RPA, as I said, can be chosen for repetitive transactions. When we say repetitive transactions, we mean like which takes tasks which employees carry out 50 to 60 times a day, or periodic reporting, data entry and data analytics, mass email generation, archiving, extracting, conversion of data formats and graphics, ERP transactions, not all, process lists and file storage. Now, how does the robotics process involve? Now, there's a high cost of robotics, let me tell you. So bots have a cost. Now, is the cost commensurate with the benefits I get? Let us see what is the difference between legacy processing of robotics vis-a-vis post implementation of robotics. What are the delta advantages? Now, when we say of current processing, we tell of high total cost of ownership due to high cost requirement. When we call RPA, we say potential reduction of cost by at least 10%. When we talk of legacy, we talk typically days and hours. When we talk RPA, we mean minutes and seconds. Legacy calls for 1 to 3% error rates. RPA calls for negligible error rates less than 0.05%. Legacy calls for limited scaling and flexibility due to resource constraints. And RPA calls for scalability and solution to all systems. Then in terms of compliance, in case of legacy, potential for impact to compliance due to manual nature of tasks. In case of RPA, we have high process compliance due to automated nature of processing. And then the staff focused on low value iterative processing task in case of legacy. But in case of RPA, since we have a lot of time with us, we can focus on handling value added and complex tasks. Now, other than RPA, there are 3 new technologies, in fact, 4 new technologies which has come up and which are used by many manufacturing and other companies. One is this AR, augmented reality. One is VR, virtual reality. One is IoT, which we discussed earlier. And what is 3D printing? When we say AR and VR, let me say, like in case of construction companies, they put this AR system, which is augmented reality, to see what is the nature of work done in each location in an assembly instruction process, materials information, warning, and what is the update. By combining data gathered through drones, many companies are using drones to see the video and then applying AR capabilities, they can see access to most of the current information as to where and when to install the next piece of a structure or repairs or a broken part. So AR can help construction teams and VR can help designs and architects visualize. So both are working in construction companies to find out the repairs and maintenance. Now, Internet of Things describes the network of physical objects embedded with sensors, software connectivity, computer capability to collect. So placing sensors on things, that's how we say, can help to collect data about them and the environment. So the risks associated with connected devices, most devices are very simple sensors without strong security mechanisms placed. So a hacking of connected devices becomes reality. So Internet of Things is placed on the things and ensures that there is no hacking and there is no data loss. Now 3D printing, very important for gloves manufacturing and medical industry. When we say 3D, we say three-dimensional objects based on digital modes by layering or printing successive layers of materials. Example, in medical domain, printing human parts can assist to provide prosthetic limbs or creating personalized replicas of organs that can be used to simulate transactions with them for medical procedures. This will help mitigate risks of ineffective procedures within real life surgery. So now a potential question comes. What does internal audit needs? We have been talking about the skill sets. What skill sets does the internal auditors need? So let us hear from the Institute of Internal Auditors as to what is their view of the future skill.
Hello, I'm Christopher Polk, Director of the IA's Audit Executive Center. When considering the future of internal audit, there are many answers to ponder on. Audit never sleeps, and the demand for skilled internal audit practitioners are growing daily. We asked a small group of internal audit leaders to share their story and thoughts on the matter. Here is what they had to say.
For the internal audit of the future, I think there's really two groups of skill sets that are going to be really important to be successful. The first is one that's been really true for a long time, which is the soft skills, the ability of people to interact with members of management, the ability to be empathetic to people in situations, those who have courage to be able to take on the hard questions, to ask the hard questions, to give feedback when feedback may not be something which is sought out. The second skill set for the most successful audit of the future is one that's really been emerging over a number of years, and I think will only become even more important, which is a comfort level with technology, and technology and data. Clearly, we've been using more and more technology, data analytics, but I think it's becoming even more so. And it's not just the knowledge bases, so that people come in with a knowledge of how to use a particular application or work in a particular ERP, but an overall comfort level with the concept of technology.
I think the internal auditor of the future is going to need to have critical thinking skills, as well as many data analytics skills. It's a very broad-based skill set needed by all our auditors. You know, some of them have that now. It's not just for the future, but I think as we move forward, you're going to see more and more of the broader-based skills, especially in analytics and critical thinking.
A top goal for every internal auditor going forward should become a trusted advisor. This will enhance the value to the organization that the auditor works for. Skills that required will include relationship building, listening, communicating, both oral and verbal, as well as strategic thinking.
What has changed is the ability of internal auditors to adapt themselves to the changing business environment and rapidly changing conditions in the global economy. And in order for internal auditors to be able to add value to their organizations, they need to have the business acumen and business knowledge. They have to acquire that. And they have to combine this business knowledge and with their technical skills, like IT skills, which are becoming more and more important and relevant.
As you can see, there is so much knowledge we can all embrace. If you are looking for relevant content, solution-based resources, training and networking opportunities to assist you and your audit team to be more successful in today's ever-changing business environment, join the Audit Executive Center today.
So we had seen the future skill requirements. So when we say future skill requirements, they highlighted two important skills in today's life. One is comfort with technology, data comfort level, and another is business knowledge with IT skills. Very, very important. So there are other skills also required. He said soft skills, ability to interact, empathize, courage, critical thinking skills, trusted advisor, relationship building, communication, strategic thinking. But the most important is understanding the business, business knowledge, IT skills, and comfort with technology. So I will try to complete my presentation today. I would like to say that a job is not complete until we arise, awake, and stop, not till the goal is reached. So all chartered accountants need to learn and ensure that nobody knows everything. So we need to learn on a daily basis. It's a continuous process. And as on when we learn, we implement. And this is how we gain knowledge. So thanks a lot. Thank you very much for patient listening. Thank you very much. And we'll take the questions at the end of the session.
Thank you, Jayanta sir, for sharing your views on artificial intelligence. About the digitalization, about the internal controls. So one of the important things that we talked about was blockchain and artificial intelligence. Most of the big fours, many of the government sector banks are also going in towards the artificial intelligence, considering the complexity of transactions. Like there was a Nirav Modi fraud that had happened. If they had the artificial intelligence on board, they would have easily tallied the balance as per the balances outside the CBS and versus the balances for the foreign banks. But since they were doing it manually, they were not able to identify such fraud. And ultimately, a bank official was involved. So once the artificial intelligence is applied in government agencies, probably the government agencies are more required. Reason being the amount of the quantum of work involved. In private companies, I guess the number of employees, the tools that they have, the expenditure that they do, they are still at a better place as compared to the government agencies. And secondly, regarding cryptocurrencies, sir, I was reading somewhere that if you need to develop a cryptocurrency, first you need to know about all the previous cryptocurrencies that have already been developed. So you have to start from there. So it is a very like Bitcoin has been developed. It is a very difficult task to develop a new currency as of today. You cannot develop a new currency unless and until you have an idea of all the technologies that have been used in prior cryptocurrencies. So ultimately, that will be part of AI only, digitalization. So, sir, thanks a lot for your wonderful presentation, along with the practical views and videos, sir. So now we move on to our third learned speaker of the day. The topic is regarding business case for artificial intelligence in internal audit. Our learned speaker is CA Karthik Radia ji. So just a brief introduction. I was reading the number of degrees that he has. So he is a fellow chartered accountant. He is an associate company secretary. He is an associate cost and works accountant. He's a certified public accountant USA, certified information system auditor USA, certified internal auditor USA, and commerce graduate from Bombay. So ये थोड़ी बहुत सर ने मेरे ख्याल कम ही लिखी होंगी. There must be more degrees जो सर ने भी mention नहीं करी है. So he is the managing partner at Mazars India LLP. He has a team of around 400 to 450 people working with him, and he's based in Bombay. So he has more than 20 years of experience in the field of digital analysis, technology, risk management, FRM, cybersecurity, business transformation and automation. So he has worked with various large auditing firms, accounting firms such as PwC, EY, BDO. So I guess he has worked in all the top accounting and auditing firms in India. So he must be having a vast experience in risk management, internal audits. So sir, we will be eager to hear about your practical experiences regarding internal audit while handling various big assignments, sir. Over to you, sir.
So thank you so much, Rahul, for such a generous and nice introduction. So, while we are into a very important subject on technology, I would like to start, and before actually going on into my presentation, my very basic question to all the participants, and I know that it's not a two-way interaction, but we will soon come to question answers. But I'm happy if somebody wants to interrupt and speak up, if that provision is there, Rahul, which I'm not very sure. But very basic question that I want to start with is, is about, technology over past few years. And, when I say past few years, I'm not going to talk about a decade old, because, this is a very, very fast changing field. Every second year, third year. So, at a time when we had got an evolution of SAP as a system, as an ERP, advent of an ERP as a system, there were very limited options. So whatever was available in technology, so happens that, whatever quick fix solutions are available, businesses go out and implement it, and then they find their journey all through. And that's how SAP got invented and came along the way. And now there are so many different other options. I think the previous speaker, Mr. Jayanta Chatterjee, spoke about RPA. I think he's brought each and every components of artificial intelligence together. And that is also the topic that I'm going to take up. But let's say one of the emerging technologies, which is RPA. And you pick up RPA and you see the options that businesses have today. There are great players in the space. It started with Blue Prism, UiPath, now Automation Anywhere, few more, and some low cost, and no code platforms like Jiffy and many others which have come up. So we had a system of records in the form of ERP, SAP. More or less, people went it as a kind of a monopolized offering that was available, and there were others also like Oracle, Dynamics, and many others. NetSuite and Zoho now, for example, coming up from India, and very, very many others. But if you really look at the options of the technologies that are available today, when you talk about, let's say, RPA or any other forms of AI, those are very many different types of options. Some of them are complex, they meet most of the requirements, and some of them, are very, very specific purpose technologies. And it becomes it. So we don't have a monopoly like something like SAP, where 20 years back we had very less amount of options, but options are too many now. On the cost and benefits front, also the options are too many. I think on RPA, if you really talk about, while the options are too many, the cost proposition that is brought on the table, is really very, very compelling. The question really is, yes, it is possible to do it at a 50-60% of the cost. And having implemented this live in many large and small and medium companies, I can tell you that the first very year, if you implement this for any department, you will, let's say finance department, let's say logistics department, let's say commercial department, you will be able to save and automate 60% of the activities, human time, basically. And 70% of the cost advantage, including the cost that is going into implementation, the year one, and the cost of buying the licenses, the technology licenses, the bot licenses. And combine that, the replacement cost of the existing humans is 70%. And this is just year one I'm talking about. Year two, the cost goes down. Year three, it goes further down because of the maturity. And this is the compelling proposition that we have. So, you had a system like an SAP that came over, swiped the entire market at a point in time. There are various other systems like SAP, like you have Microsoft Excel, Outlook, Microsoft Office. All these are more or less very widely generally accepted use systems. But you talk about the emerging technologies, because the options are too many right now. The core lies in what is the fit for purpose, what is going to meet my requirements, what is that I'm looking at, and what is going to meet my requirements, and at what cost, what are the cost and benefit value proposition. Now, that's a very important question. My second question, and for that I'll go into my presentation, is what is this whole artificial intelligence all about? What is this really all about? And the question really comes up is this like all the things that, let's say, Mr. Jayanta said, or kind of things that I'm going to cover in the presentation? I hope everybody can see my presentation. Rahul, if you can confirm it, I think it will be good.
Yeah. You can just enlarge it, sir, by a slideshow.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, it is visible, sir, now.
So my coverage is artificial intelligence, and my question is, don't straight jump into my key question, but my next question is artificial intelligence and all components of I would classify everything that has been spoken as artificial intelligence. You talk about advanced, predictive, prescriptive, all different kinds of data analytics. You talk about RPA, you talk about the advanced IoT systems, you talk about cryptos and blockchain, and you talk about any other format of expert systems, decision support systems, or decision-making systems. All of these, I would call them as, in some form or the other, it comes under one of the bucket of artificial intelligence. So is this a real buzzword, or or really it is something that really is going to change the game. And the answer lies in each one of us. We have been around in environment today. You talk about the traditional areas of practice. You see the filing of returns. Just few years back, we used to file the returns manually. See the things now. You're not only filing the returns electronically or digitally, but you are also making all the kinds of payments, all kinds of interfaces, all kinds of certificates. Everything is happening digitally. You look at the statutory audit of most of the entities, those which are required to be filed with the agencies like ROCs and exchanges, etc. You look at how the filing process is going. All that filing that is happening is through certain kind of a UDIN, certain kind of validation, authentication. All of that is electronic. And these are the changes that we are observing in the environment. Okay, these are really hardcore changes that we are observing in the environment around us. Take an example of business. Now, these are the filing and some other things that you're seeing. These are regulatory reporting areas, compliance activities, which has gone into so much of digitization. And now you're talking about also faceless assessments and things like that. Basically, that is solving a problem of making sure that you have you're reducing the gap of corruption. You're reducing corruption, making sure that you're doing a faceless, and whatever is coming up, let's try to do faceless, even faceless appeals. And now most of the things under Indian jurisdiction also. I mean, I know that a lot of legal activities have gone slow, and the jurisprudence and overall, I think the overall judiciary has gone a little slow when it came to digitization, but there are going to be some massive changes that is going to happen also on the judiciary side. But if you look at even that environment, basically that is going through a very big transformative change. Come to business. Business is always at the forefront of adopting these changes. Earlier we had things like SAP and all which were implemented. Right now we've got so many discrete, so many standalone different systems. Whatever is making use, people are adopting, implementing, and going forward. And there are so many options, and many of these are open source options. Use cases, if you've solved a problem, that can be readily implemented. And the companies in the same industry are very much interested in adopting whatever is adopted by some of the early players in that industry. So business is going through a very, very fast changing technology, not just adaptation, but also going very, very fast. And you look at COVID pandemic, basically that has further accelerated the pace. And you've seen this, that most of the IT companies, they've gone more than double the valuation. More of the IT service companies in India, down south and various places within India, they've gone double the valuation. And that shows the need and the requirement and the kind of demand that is existing in this area, because people cannot go face to face, because people cannot go to their offices or workplaces, or making sure that they get into a lot of manual transportation and some of the other activities. Therefore, it is happening digitally, and therefore it is a need of an hour that most of the businesses have adopted. And look at every business function, and all business functions to some extent has gone, including a back office function like a human capital and accounting function. In my view, and that's my limited observation, the accounting function is one of the last functions to adapt to the technology. Sorry if I'm making that kind of a blunt statement, but that is my limited assessment from my limited experience, that accounting and some of the other legal and even at times human capital, some of these functions are very, very late adopters of some of the emerging edge technologies. And therefore, the question then is AI just a buzzword, or it is basically bringing in a lot of different elements that we as accountants, as professional accountants, have to seriously have something adapted as a part of our curriculum, so that we are, and I know that a lot of younger generation is far more ahead when it comes to technology, but coming into some of the very specific disciplines on technology, it would make a far better sense for us to have a curriculum which is far more technology oriented than what it is presently. So it is not just buzzword, and the answer is that. The whole topic that we are going to cover is business case, practical aspects of integrating AI into internal audit function, what, why, how of AI is going to work in the case of internal auditing. And if I want to put a short title to this, it's business case for AI, that is artificial intelligence and internal auditing. And then I finally now come to my very key question. Why are we even deliberating this? And the answer clearly comes out that we as accountants, as auditors, have, if you look at what kind of technologies have we invented, business has implemented so many different technologies. The question is, have we at least implemented some of the technologies which is for doing the business, which is our bread and butter, like audit, like internal audit, like even tax filings? Have we at least, there is some kind of an automation, there is some kind of Excel sheet, pre-programmed Excel sheets. Those are some very basic things. But have we at least done some kind of, at least some kind of technology invention or innovation in the areas which are our bread and butter? And again, I would like to be blunt here. I don't think auditing is really, whether it is internal or statutory auditing, I don't think overall it is keeping a pace with the way and the pace at which the businesses are changing. And therefore, it is a very important area that we're discussing today from an internal auditor's perspective. And we're deliberating the core of AI and digital and emerging technologies topic. I would get into the whole landscape. And to me, this entire landscape is called as AI. And I would not distinguish between things like RPA, going down further, or conversational AI, or expert systems, or machine learning. I would not, or blockchain for that matter. I would not go back and say, okay, these things are very distinctly different. These ecosystems are very, very different. Although at times they appear to be, most of the technology inventions, when they happen, to be very honest, they are not integrated technology platforms. Like SAP, when it came out, it was very much an integrated business process application. Whether it is now meeting the requirements of end-to-end digitalization, complete end-to-end business processes, and particularly from the interfacing and integration point of view, there are question marks whether we have one integrated system that talks and covers and embraces all different systems. And therefore, I would like to say that each and every modern system focuses on some or the other bit of AI. And there is an application of AI into each of these applications. When you say RPA, there are some 40 plus total criterias, or rather boxes, of artificial intelligence. And each of these, so let's say RPA, for example, it needs 3 or 4 boxes. Data analytics, it kind of ticks maybe 3 or 4 boxes. Conversational AI, maybe it ticks another 6 or 7 boxes. And they are, to be very, very straight on this, they are progressively evolving technologies. They're progressively evolving technologies. So where, in my view, where the data stops, RPA starts and takes over. And where the RPA stops, it is the conversational AI, that is the chatbots, that takes over. And where these systems stop, it is expert systems, or even blockchain systems. Those are the systems that eventually then take it over. And then AR, VR also, so virtual experience system takes over. So to me, each and every of these are progressively evolving technologies. They're very much progressively evolving technologies, and therefore they have to be looked upon as addressing one or the other element of an artificial intelligence. So starting with, let's say, something which is data or machine learning, followed by that is a natural language processing, as to how to process some basic texts, how to process some basic languages, different languages, how to translate them, how to process them, and how to, let's say, for example, there's an email from a customer which says that, okay, I want to open an account, bank account. And then therefore you send him a link, automated emails being sent. A lot of times we receive an automated email, even from from our income tax department, we receive automated email along with our PAN details and on our email IDs that, okay, your return as so-and-so has been processed, etc. All of that is natural language processing, which happens. Then comes the RPA, which is the robotic process automation. Sorry, I'm sorry, the slide went to the next one. Very sorry for this. I'm trying to change, the position of the camera a little bit. Natural language processing is followed by RPA. And that's where, all the business processes, they get automated, they get rule-based, and there are also industrial bots, and we will come to a little bit more of bots, when we are talking about this particular form of technology, because I have taken, at least 3 or 4 examples of some application of these artificial intelligence technologies that will actually be, you will be able to relate as to which of these auditing applications does it apply to. Rahul, it is just my request, because I think you've been moving a little bit on the screen, so if you can just maybe
sorry. Yeah, sure sir. Sorry,
little bit. I think from the user point of view, it may distract some of the users, so that's the request. You may off the camera if that is okay with you, Rahul. So conversational artificial intelligence is when beyond the robotic processing, you want the artificial systems to basically attend and converse with human beings. So, for example, let's say you're calling the bank. Earlier, we had this, tele systems where you used to press certain buttons, certain options, and used to go to the right menu and right options. And now, basically, you have to talk as in conversational artificial intelligence, and the system at the back end will compute the work steps and will guide you. And at some point, you will also see there is an attended human that comes over. If the machine is not adapted to a very unique query, then there is an immediate learning that happens into the conversational AI systems, and the human takes over, and then he gives a solution, and that solution is recorded for the next time, as a rule base and as a flow chart. It is also used when it comes to conversational. I want to give you an auditing application, is when you go and do a trend report. So for example, let's say in a modern internal audit department, if you've got your data warehouse of all your audit findings, those are linked to the business data warehouse, where all your audit findings, they are connected. You've got a history of that and the history of findings and all of that. So for example, SAP system will give you period and data, ERP systems will give you period and data, and at various points of time when you want to see the data every day on how this is moving, then you need to have a data warehouse through the system that will collate, that will take the complete history of the data and will put it in the form of warehouse. And that's where basically you can go out and do a trend analysis. So for example, let's say if you have implemented a very nice quality management system, or if you have implemented a CAPEX, a very large capital expenditure project that is going to help you to reduce the wastages, then if you just give a command by way of a conversation to a chat bot, that chat bot will go and will find out the complete status of data and the internal audit report finding, that what was the wastage that was reported by the internal audit team at so-and-so point in time. Then there was a capital expenditure, then there was an improvement, and now after that, how the wastage has been improving. And cause and effect relationship can be established through this chat bot by way of a human conversing. And imagine if you were to ask an internal auditor to do this, you would go back and say, okay, I need this information. He will go back, extract so many different data sheets, extract so much of information, apply his mind, and come back and at least he may take 2 or 3 days to address to one simple query. Just one simple query, that can be attended by a chatbot immediately with a speed, going into some of the historical data warehouse and the data tables. I'll give you an example today. If most of you are using WhatsApp on your phones, and today, if you have to search any kind of a chat with a particular person, you don't see each and every chat manually possible. And therefore, you go into the chat box of that person, you go into the detail and do a chat search, and then you put that word, and it automatically throws up if it is pertaining to that chat with that person. Or if it is a general thing, then you just go up and type something, and it will it will give you the complete kind of chats that you've used that word. So those are some examples. I mean, series one example of also conversational artificial intelligence in a very narrow, in a very smaller, very narrow sense. But again, that's conversational artificial intelligence. And when you see chatbots, basically they are one of the examples of conversational artificial intelligence that recognizes speech, vision, and some of the other human behavioral patterns. And then comes expert systems. And by the way, that includes also, while I've given a couple of examples, that includes blockchain also. And then comes the virtual reality experience. If you, I'll give you another application and example. If you, let's say, for example, Lenskart and some of these app, I'm just giving a very basic example. Or let's say, some of these furniture showrooms or furniture, online furniture shops, or even let's say Amazon, for example, is one of the very large retail chain. If you look at the kind of provisions that are there on the app for you to see, and if you, let's say, to some of the online furniture vendors, for example, if you give the measurement of your house, and basically it will, in an automated manner, it will give you as to how your house will look like, if this is the color of the furniture, if this is the pattern and the type of the furniture. And then without you going and seeing it physically at some of the places, you can actually see how your house is going to look like. So in a picture format, it can also be a 3D format, where actually you can have a live virtual reality experience by having certain devices. You'll feel like as if you're going into your new house, which has that's a particular type of a furniture from, let's say, you've selected from one of the furniture chains, and that you've selected, and how would your house look like? And it'll give you that virtual reality experience. And so these are all the examples of artificial intelligence. It will be wrong to say that artificial intelligence is better than human intelligence, or human intelligence is better than artificial intelligence. In my view, there is no competition between human and robots, between human and technology. They only complement each other. Where human mind basically can do, someone said about common sense, they lack common sense, etc. But once you develop rules, once you develop processes, once you develop an experience into the systems, they can do wonders what human systems may not do. So, for example, if you were to educate your 10,000 call center employees to speak in a particular way for a particular type of program, you would have done so much amount of training, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months training, but it is never going to be the same between two humans dealing with it. But the response as an organization to a particular problem has to be uniform, has to be standard, and has to be in a particular manner. And that's where machines really play beauty. Humans can come and do a lot of innovation to those machine learnings, but at the end of the day, human mind has a limitation to say that there are certain dimensions of certain number of dimensions that we can look at. Human mind at the most can go up to 3 dimensions. Our education systems, our human mind itself has a certain competence to look at particular number of dimensions. When you look about 7, 8, 10, 15 or more number of dimensions, X and Y axis and Z axis is what maximum we can deal with when it comes to data and trending and analysis. But if you talk about X, Y, Z, P, Q, R, all different dimensions, and each of these different dimensions, they are interconnected and they are connected in some form of the other. So there in real life, it is never X and Y. It is never X and Y and Z, but there are combination of so many factors and then interplay of so many factors. And that's where you need artificial intelligence to basically complement humans, and humans work alongside artificial intelligence to make sure that we are able to deliver the real important problems that are evolving, the next gen problems. Ultimately, what is happening with all this artificial intelligence and all of that, and if you look at the whole GDP of the world, which has changed over the past few years, as much the technological development happens, like the way we are able to deal with business now, things like emails, things like e-commerce, things like your various forms of communication, order placement, all of that. See the amount of business enablement that has happened because of all these technologies, and therefore the business overall grows. Each and every business gets an opportunity to grow very large. Nobody would have thought that a company like Amazon, which is an e-commerce player, would come up and today be the largest company in the entire world, when it has solved a problem of basically supplies and demand and bringing it to the customer's doorstep. But that's an example of what a technology can do to our entire economy. And therefore, as we see the future generation of our evolution, be it any aspect of life, whether non-profit, profit, governmental, any aspect, social or spiritual, all of these today, technology is going to play a very, very important role in each and every dimension, and humans will not be able to live without artificial intelligence in the times ahead. I come to then coming to at a very conceptual level, how does really AI apply in an internal audit world, or where does it make sense? How does it really work? Internal audit is a very detailed discipline. There are set processes to be followed. There is a set quality management system, because internal audit is at the end of the day giving assurance to the board, which indirectly is giving assurance to the shareholders. Though internal auditors are not directly connected to the shareholders, but there are two agencies today, or even more agencies today, which are giving assurance to the stakeholders outside, and that may not be just shareholders, but even regulators and society at large. So you've got statutory auditors. They're going larger, much beyond financial statements. They are also going to be having an integrated reporting, one report, sustainability, and all of this, which is a part of statutory audit. And statutory audit depends and relies on internal audit, and there are very well established standards of reliance and dependence between statutory audit and internal audit. So internal audit, the quality of internal audit, which is the third line of defense, and now the lines of defense are also blurred as per the new COSO specifications or the updates. But let's say the third line, if I were to call it traditional third line of defense, then the next line of defense, which is a statutory audit, it's actually an external organization. It's still not a part of the organization, but statutory audit, for example, relies on internal audit, and you've got board of directors or the audit committee, which extensively relies on internal audit. And therefore, at an abstract level, if this is the function that has to discharge an onerous responsibility of giving an assurance, an onerous responsibility of giving the comfort to the other stakeholders, then we better be equipped with right kind of quality framework, and we better be equipped with right kind of technology tools. And I would go back to the internal auditing fundamentals. Including Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, which has given the definition for internal audit, and also the IIA, the definition is the Institute of Internal Auditors. The definition is not much different, and we have an independent, objective assurance plus consulting activity. So it is assurance plus consulting, because internal audit is not just an assurance activity, because otherwise it will take completely a responsibility like a statutory auditor. But therefore, there is also a process advisory, there is a technology governance and control advisory that an internal auditor gives, process advisory that an internal auditor gives, and therefore it is very much a consulting activity alongside being an assurance activity. And we'll not get into much of the details here, but it is designed to add value and improve organizations' operations. And remember, enterprise organizations operations. Remember value addition. Actually, when there is a value addition that is happening, it is happening through technology, because technology today, whether you talk about management consulting, each one of the big management consulting firms today, talk about any one of them, each one of them has a technology practice. And management consulting without technology, because technology straightforward comes and adds a 20-30% to your top line, and that's the implication of adding technology. 20-30% year 1, year 2, year 3, it grows exponentially. If that's the implication of the technology, and that's the improvement of operations responsibility that we have, internal auditors do not have any other excuse but to say, yes, I'm going to not just understand the AI that is being used across the enterprise, but I'm as an internal auditor, I'm going to use AI, innovate my own operations, work not just alongside, but be ahead of the curve when the when the question of implementation of AI comes in, whether that is a fit for purpose, whether that is giving you the required governance and controls, internal auditor is always ahead, in this role as a value addition and consulting and an organizational improvement of operations, of operational improvement activity. If that is a role that internal auditor has to play, then AI is very much integrated, and at a conceptual level, each and every part of an internal audit function, every process within an internal audit function has to be not only automated or digitized, but will be very, very intelligent artificially. You have to make machines really learn the internal audit skills and make machines more learned, and therefore giving machines more empowerment, and therefore indirectly giving more empowerment to human beings or internal auditors who are actually going to do internal audit. And let me tell you that if there are the three major things that you're going to look at: internal controls, continuous controls. People said before my session that we are talking about real time, so continuous. You're talking about compliance and risk management activity alongside internal, because that's an assurance you're going to give. You're going to give an assurance over system, process, people. If all of this that you have to do in the context of improvement of operational business operations, then internal auditor has to apply artificial intelligence not only across the processes and the function that he is discharging, or the processes that are being used within internal audit function, but it goes far more beyond into being part of a very important committee of the organization, the technology steering committee. Earlier it used to be called as, and now it is, we have redefined the term in lines with the most important developments. I'm going to come over to this, and that is Artificial Intelligence Center of Excellence. And that brings in all business experts together. It brings in the key guys from the technology together. An internal auditor has to be a part of organizational agenda. He needs to understand business plans. He needs to understand the projects of the technologies that are coming up, and not just understand, but also give an assurance on these AI projects, and then use artificial intelligence as a part of his complete internal audit life cycle. And that's why I said that AI should be applied across the spectrum of internal audit life cycle, right from data analysis, extraction, sampling, or 100% validation, communication, even report preparation you will not be able to sit and every time draft a new report. Let the machines do it. Teach the machines, get the repository, let machines basically make up the reports based on the past reports and the language. Get the library sorted, do the benchmarking, whatever is available from external sources, from public searches, etc. and there's so much of information lying out there. There's so much of competitive information lying out there. Go to Money Control, go to most of the other systems, BSE, NSE websites for listed companies. There's so much of information, segmental reporting, so much of information lying out there. And all of these comparisons can be done as far as benchmarking with competition is concerned through an AI and enabling an AI. So that's how at a conceptual and abstract level, an AI gets applied in internal audit. I would like to come now. I've already established the business case for AI, but let me go into further more details. It will be incomplete to complete a discussion on AI for internal audit without discussing a very formal or very structured business case. Followed by that is myths and challenges. So the business case for AI is that it helps in continuous innovation. As I said, it works not just 24/7. If there were 25 hours, then it would have worked for 25th hour. As we say that, some people work for 25 hours. It doesn't work for just 365 days. It actually works for 366 days. Whenever there are 366 days once in 4 years, it has enhanced accuracy. It helps you scale up. It complements, and remember, it complements and transforms human intelligence. It adds to the human intelligence. Today, by using calculator, you have not become disabled. But today, by using calculator, whenever we have learned, our auditing, a lot of our life revolved around calculators. Now it is Excel sheets and many other programs. But we did a lot using calculators. Our earlier generations told us always, oh, you guys need calculators. Things are very much going into our mind. but that's where they remained. And how there is an evolution. So calculator has not limited humans, but calculator at that point in time had actually enabled the transformation. And we were able to do some big totals, some very big totals, and then came scientific calculators and so many things. So then transcend human limitation and boundaries. I said one very important example here, that how a technology can study not just 2 or 3 dimensions, that human mind through various linear programming. We've learned linear programming, LPP, linear programming. Then we've learned regression analysis, correlation, coefficient. All of these use or simultaneous equations. All of these use 2 or 3 variables at the most. X plus Y plus Z. That's where we stopped. There was not X plus Y plus Z plus P plus Q plus R and what happens after that. So it helps you to basically transcend human limitations and boundaries, and therefore adds a very solid synergic value. So that's the business case for AI, and also for internal audit, adaptation of AI into internal audit. Come to myths and challenges. Very big issue today is sitting on integration of technologies. Each of these technologies, as I said, many of these are open sources. Many of these are standalone. They are off the shelf. People find some technology to solve an immediate problem. They go ahead and make the technology program to solve it. And then the problem comes, oh, now how does it talk with SAP? How does it talk with SCADA? How does it talk with some of the other disintegrated platforms? Can it happen online? Can it be exposed to online? Can we put an internet enablement, allow internet exposure? Can we open up? And the question comes, oh, is it cyber secured? Can we open it up generally like that? So integration of technologies is a very important challenge. And we are going to talk a little bit more about this, but integration of various technologies, blockchain, SAP, imagine all these technologies coming into one. How do you singularize it? How do you integrate it? I think that's a key problem for the business for now and for several years to come. Limited skill sets and know-how. Even though India is a center of excellence for most technology players, you talk about Google, you talk about Microsoft, you talk about any of the larger accounting firms, people spoke about big 4 firms, etc. 20 to 25% of their staff is sitting out of India. And that shows that India has got real great skill sets and know-how into this area, real great skill sets. The question is this also enough skill sets? Because most of our people are basically used by multinationals. Do we have enough skill sets now for many of the companies left? And you have to be competitive to offer them that kind of that kind of salaries, etc. Only number of people who have gone into school, have gone into engineering, have studied technology, have studied chartered accountancy. Only those people can be made available for usage. If they've not gone through it, then we don't have it in the supply. Outpace human intelligence, replace human jobs is expensive. Lack of human touch, lack of economic scale. All these are myths. They are not challenges. So the first 2 are challenges. Integration of technology and limited skill sets and know-how. There's less amount of supply. But if you look at, it is going to outpace human intelligence. No, it is going to complement human intelligence. It's going to transform human intelligence. Is it going to replace human jobs? I think this is the worry that we need to, it should be the last part of our worry. Reason is, when SAP system came in, when the computers came into the country, most of the banking people, public sector bankers in India, they objected. They said, no, we don't want automation because it will take away our jobs. And this, I'm talking about the 1990s era. When the computers came in, Rajiv Gandhi and some of the others took the decisions to, get the entire system computerized in India. So people had this fear, oh, SAP systems will come in, oh, banking systems will come in, databases will come in, and we are going to lose the jobs. Yes, bookkeepers have lost the jobs, but those who have learned SAP, those who have learned various systems, they have adapted and they've learned, and then the human minds have started focusing into something else. The human learning has started focusing into how to use SAP technology. What kind of reports can be there from technology and from SAP? So we have shifted our intelligence. We've given away the low-level activities, and we have shifted into strategic areas. And that's how the evolution is going to happen. So it's not going to replace human beings in any manner, because always there is a shortage of human beings. It's always going to be there. The shortage of human beings is always going to be there. Human beings are always going to be more expensive than machines. So therefore, the myth that it is expensive is a mere myth, and let it remain myth. Lack of human touch. Today, conversational artificial intelligence gives a far better human experience, even artificial experience that is better than human beings. and lack of scale, lack of economic scale. And people believe that, okay, from an economic standpoint, there is a lack of economic benefits, that you only need to go to a particular scale to achieve it. And that is also a myth. So these are this is the business case, and these are the myths and challenges one question comes in. I mean, in a fair manner, what is the issue then? Why, if artificial intelligence is so inexpensive, if it is going to add so much of value, if it is going to be so much effective, then why not use it? And the answer is yes, we are not using it, and a large part of this is coming from our own mindset as an issue. Just coming towards the finer part of the discussion of application into internal audit, and there I've given some examples, and I'm saying that, okay, starting with data first. So let's pick up data first. So what is it going to help the auditors? It is going to help us to build the data insights, understand the business insights based on the data insights. You're going to read the business through the data. There is a repository and data warehousing at an enterprise level, and we would strongly recommend that while your enterprise is building up the data warehouse, please make sure that there is an IA dimension to the existing warehouse, or there is a separate data warehouse cut for the internal audit that is being built up. So that is data warehousing and repository, advanced analytics to do sensitive analysis, predictive models, forecasting, cause and effect relationships, data management, basically cleansing, storage, and analysis of data. And I've given some examples of the practical usage. You'll be able to predict the fraud based on human behavior. If these are the kind of human beings, then there is a certain kind of fraud possibility that is happening. If this is the control that you're having as a background check to do, then there is less chance of, if this is a check that we are making, let's say 3 organizations to be done a background check for senior level employees and background check of a detailed nature for senior level management. If this is a check that we are making, then you can straight predict that there is going to be less frauds on financial reporting. There's going to be less frauds on siphoning or diversion of funds. And those are some predictive models which are going to be interesting. So that is data. Come to RPA, the second level of application in internal audit. So basically, I would say, one should re-engineer, standardize, integrate, automate all business processes. And when I say this, that includes internal audit. And I would say, let the bots carry out repetitive, mundane activities and processes and apply human energies for strategic and high impact and intuitive areas. And to give an example here, let's say if there's a standard checklist, and that most of us follow in internal audit. And if there is a standard pieces of data objects that need to be seen, analyze the output, make sure that is fed as a learning into the machine, and let machines do the complete analysis, and then give us the final observation. So let the robots do that. Why human beings have to coordinate, call up various people, ask for the data, put that into the Excel sheet? Why that analysis has to be done by human beings? It's a very basic thing. Let the machines do it. The third thing is integrate business processes and reflection of common organizational theme. And this is very important. Through RPA, you're going to understand one thing. HR function, you've got an HR person who has come from his own experience, and maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 years he's been into the company. Finance function is led by somebody else. Every 3 or 4, 5 years there is some change. And there's a larger, if you look at senior management, there's also a good amount of attrition in the senior management composition over a period of time. So each of these come with their own experience, with their own backgrounds. If we have to have an organizational ethos built up, how do you run a common theme? An HR process cannot be completely independent. It is fully decentralized. Everything is decided by HR manager. And in finance department, it cannot be everything is decided by the CFO. You need to have a common theme, that what is an organizational approach and a theme. And that's where integrated business processes and a reflection of a common theme is going to play a very important role. There are tangible value proposition and an intangible value proposition. So if you want to make your internal audit department quality management system compliant or a mature system, then please adopt RPA. It will give you process resilience, it will give you process robustness, and it will lend a process objectivity at a company level. Come to the next one, which is physical verification using drones. And this can be the most easy ones today. If there are terrorists who have started knowing how to use drones for attacks for meeting their objectives, I think auditors, we are far more positive, far more positive in and constructive in our activities. Needless to say that if you were to make humans travel from one place to the other, and let me tell you, there are many businesses today, they do physical verification and they make people travel even still today from one place to the other. Plants and various complex systems, like the dip measurement, you ask the auditor basically to stand up, go up to the filter tank, or go up to the fuel tank, go out, take the in a noon time, you ask him to go and take a dip, see the measurement, and there are things like this which are happening. And that's why we're saying that, okay, please give a little bit of a better experience to auditors, and please use drones to really add value, and at least make them go to these places which are difficult for human beings to go, and therefore automate this. And let me tell you, let's say, for example, even there are these metal companies, etc. They store cement, metal. Take about larger chemical companies, etc. There's a lot of storage of chemicals that happens in heap, in cones and various shapes, and it is not possible for human beings to go to a level and do an assessment. But if you use drones, it will go out and find the exact technical measurements. And by the way, drones are very less expensive. And let me also tell you, the commercial application in the cities is prohibited, but if you're using it within your plant with requisite permissions, as much as we are using it in many of the marriage occasions and many of the parties, that is permissible. So that can be applied and worked upon by taking permissions to operate within a specific area and for specific purposes. Last part is conversational artificial intelligence. I want to take one example here. Chatbots, basically, I told you about this. It can go out and can actually predict your discounts, can predict your P&L, can predict your wastages, can predict your input-output ratio, can predict your credit card defaults, all of this before, after implementing some things, before or after implementing certain capex, and it does it within, it doesn't take 5 days, it just does it within minutes. And if you were to ask me what's the price of a chatbot, can I tell you, if a department today uses one chatbot, what is the price of a chatbot? It's not more than 30 lakhs including implementation, and it can get all different kinds of analysis done through chatbot. My point is, if a department is already spending 4 or 5 crores, let's say a medium-sized department of a medium-sized company, if you're spending 4 or 5 crores, of a department might as well spend 30 lakhs on a conversational artificial intelligence and make a better use of human time. Let the humans learn it, let they adopt it, let they start using and integrating it. One bot per department, one chat bot per department is what I'm suggesting. And this is not just for external users. I'm talking also about internal ecosystem of an enterprise, even for back office functions. The last part of my presentation is the AI roadmap. This is a suggestion that I have. There are various theories that have been spoken about this, and this is just a suggestion from my end that after, of course, reviewing and doing a lot of research in this area, it starts with data first. Always it's data first everywhere. Internal auditor, he cannot go to the site or cannot start internal audit without at least take the basic hand-holding of the data, get the hand of the data first, understand what's coming out of the data. You can't go about understanding, okay, if it's a cement industry, you can't send an auditor from financial services and do an audit for a cement manufacturing company who will ask some basic process. Oh, how does the discounting happen? How does a discount happen? Rate discount or a quantity discount? How does a regional selling happen? What does a centralized or a decentralized regional office of a cement company does? You can't. You have to read the data. You should be well versed with the data. Starts with data first always, even for audit. So data first, process transformation. Of course, after data is the detailed rule-based process transformation. Re-engineering, if at all it calls for, automating it, do that. Integrated business functions. I told you that you need to have a common organizational theme. HR cannot say, I'm going to get everything approved by a local payroll executive, and a finance function. You have a finance controller, the senior most after the CFO, approving everything. So you need to have integrated business functions, a common organizational theme. Then comes integrated technologies. I already told about this, how to integrate, at what stage to integrate. Let the decentralized system form and take shape, and then you should also integrate them at some point. It is not possible from day one to develop a fully integrated. That's never going to happen. That there's a single system that is going to meet all the requirements. It has never happened. It is never going to happen. Therefore, integration will always be a subject and will be an important one, at least for a few years right now. The last one is AI COE, and that's very important. It's constituted center of excellence that is constituted for artificial intelligence, and it's constituted, and this is a very practical roadmap and a very practical work step that is leading towards an excellence, a level 5 for adaptation of artificial intelligence, bring everything into a COE. It's a kind of a steering committee of the top, and that is where IA needs to be a part of, and IA needs to be a part of as a business process, internal controls, and governance champion. IA not only is a part of it, but IA contributes very effectively into the COE. It also audits the COE. Although it's a part of the COE, it also audits the programs of the COE, whether COE is properly functioning and whether the COE is effective. So that's all from my side. I'm happy to take up further questions.
Thank you, Karthik sir, for your presentation regarding AI. जैसे आपने से chat box की बात करी, I guess in this chat box thing is currently being used in the medical industry, as of I know. It is already being used a lot in the medical industry, whereby it is being pre-filled with the data regarding the queries of the patients that they have, so as to get an automated response. I don't know about the accounting field as of now, but this is currently being used a lot in the medical field as of now.
All banks, all insurance companies, all of them, all call centers, all of them are using conversational artificial intelligence chatbots.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So thank you to all our 3 learned speakers. Just for knowledge, we had around 3,000 listeners. They registered for our session today. So now we come to the question answer session, sir. First of all, I'll be taking a question that some members have raised. For one of the questions is, what are the new tools for audit, and how do we audit a fully digitalized account? Like, what are the risks involved in that, and how do we audit a fully digitalized account? What are the new tools regarding audit? Any of the 3 speakers, Devashish sir, if you could give us some insight into this, the new tools for audit, and how do we audit a fully digitalized sector?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. You see, as Karthik was mentioning, we are already witnessing drone as a important tool of doing inventory audit, and it is being used very widely. You see, artificial intelligence also are being used in certain extent by the auditors to look into the big data. And obviously, the traditional way of looking into the ERP system, and obviously, I would rather say that wherever there are companies where new technology has been adopted, those systems need to be understood. That's what I also told in the beginning of my presentation. Say, for example, a bank is using blockchain technology. So those blockchain technology should be understood, and the control and what are the control inbuilt into the system. As a user, the internal auditor has to understand those system and then try to see what are the rules that has been set up in the blockchain technology. So there is nothing called a specific technology for the internal audit, but the technology which is evolving, we have to adapt to those technologies. That is my take. If anybody can want to add anything, please.
Okay, sir. Karthik, please put some light on COSO. A few members are asking about what is COSO, COSO. So please put some light on that.
Sure. So COSO stands for Committee of Sponsoring Organizations of the Tradeway Commission in the United States. It is formed by 5 of the accounting bodies, which are IIA is one of the members of that, AICPA is one of the members of that, CICA is one of the members of that, and like that there are CICA is Canadian Institute of Chartered Accountants is also a member of that, and this COSO basically guides on internal controls and risk management. Basically, it first got importance, in some early 2000 years, in 2003, 2004, where basically the first version of the COSO came in for integrated internal controls, and where at the same time you also had Sarbanes-Oxley that came up in the US for the listed entities, and which very well the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which is applicable to the US listed companies, particularly in the Nasdaq and New York Stock Exchange. They said that there has to be an integrated internal controls framework, Section 404 that came in, and as a part of further on development of that, PCOB, which is an Indian version of NAFRA that we have, National Financial Reporting Authority, and it is called a Public Company Accounting and Oversight Board. It came in and gave a lot of guidances, basically. So between the AICPA and between the Securities Exchange Commission, as we have in India, SEBI. So the concept first came in to say SEC doesn't know so much of accounting. An institute, AICPA Institute, basically is a standard setting body. In fact, in the US, it's slightly different. There are state bodies of accounting which also lays down standards as much as AICPA, but AICPA is a qualifying body for CPAs in the US. But between that, we need to have NAFRA, which is an independent body. And therefore, in India, also with the same logic, NAFRA came into existence. That, ICAI being regulator, SEBI is there, but, between that, there should be a National Financial Reporting Authority. So PCOB in the US came up with saying that you need to refer to COSO as integrated internal controls framework. And that's where most of the listed companies have to follow the COSO standard for integrated internals controls. And it specifies basically certain dimensions and certain ways in which it has got updated at least thrice. There's also risk management framework, which has also got updated at least twice. The latest COSO stands is for the year 2017, integrated internal controls framework. There's some updates to that also, but 2017 is the latest framework. And I also believe that the risk management framework, COSO risk management framework, slightly integrated internal controls framework, slightly goes into the operational elements of the business, conceptual and operational, detailed controls, each and every controls in the business, it gets linked. When it comes to risk management, it's largely a top level activity, senior management and board level activity, largely senior management and middle management driven activity, of course, with the oversight of the board and the risk management committee. So, which is also risk management committee is also of the board. So the COSO basically COSO ERM framework, enterprise-wide risk management framework, is also something that is mandatorily applicable to the US listed companies, both the COSO integrated internal controls framework and the COSO ERM. Likewise, we have in India also similar IFC framework, which is applicable, and the risk management. In fact, risk management provisions are right there in the Companies Act itself as a part of the same section 38, which deals with internal controls framework, also deals with risk management for the board. So that is COSO, and I think that we have got Indian elements also to this in the form of NAFRA, in the form of IFC, and in the form of risk management framework. Now all this being a part of Companies Act itself.
Jayanta sir, there is a question. What is the difference between machine language and artificial intelligence, and whether robotic process automation is a AI or an ML?
I would like to say that actually robotic is not a part of integrated IT system. It is sitting on top of the IT system. So robotic is a form of artificial intelligence which uses some of the repetitive works which requires large form of human labor and numbers, like say supply chain management, where you have to make a lot of logistic bills which are of even size and you don't need a lot of intelligence. So robotic process helps in making these equal payments on the same day of a week at the same time without taking much hours, and huge reduction of savings of days and time. So robotics is a form of artificial intelligence And when you talk of the language, robotics use the language which are determined in the system, like in the sense it cannot use a programming language which is something new or which is outside the periphery. Whatever you feed in, it takes it as a logic and then it takes it in a larger scale. So the language which robotics use is primarily from artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is the basis which guides the robotics as to how to do and how to program it.
Thank you, sir. So now we have some questions, which I guess Nanda sir will be able to. He's back. He will be able to answer. So one is whether, what do you think, whether artificial intelligence will lead to loss of jobs for various people that are working in industries? And second question is whether ICAI is including artificial intelligence in its curriculum for the upcoming chartered accountants, sir?
Thank you, Rahulji. When I speak of artificial intelligence and its impact on job, I'm reminded of a movie called Naya Daur. Dilip Kumar is not there, but at that time, Dilip Kumar was a Tanga player and there was a person, a villain called Jivan, who bought a car. So the moral of the movie was that what may come, a person who's a hard worker will always win. So what I feel that artificial intelligence would be a facilitator to chartered accountants and this profession. I want to tell you, the more you equip yourself with technology, the better you are placed. Throw away all the unfounded fears. They can't throw a chartered accountant because that is artificial intelligence and we have the actual intelligence, the true intelligence, the real intelligence. So nobody can throw chartered accountants out. Rather, it is time for us to focus on proper decision making. The boards, the entire consulting community looks upon to us how we present, how we draw inference and communicate to them. So now time should be stopped. Now you should not be putting or wasting time in doing the normal things. You should only be taking the inference of data analytics with the help of artificial intelligence and making informed decisions, or help the board or audit committee make informed decisions. Second, now when you spoke a very pertinent question on the course curriculum, whether course curriculum, we are very keen, and I feel that for chartered accountants, we have a specific board, DAB, Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, which holds programs on these. We are very keen to implement that for student also. And I may not know, maybe it is implemented, if not in very near future, all these facets, including artificial intelligence, blockchains, robotics, you can call Internet of Things, cloud compounding, everything shall be an integral part of the course. I understand that no CA office shall be functional after 3 years without these things. And when we are preparing future chartered accountants, when we are preparing chartered accountants who should be compliant to the entire industry, they should be well versed with the technological changes.
Thank you, sir. So along with the questions, we have received a number of appreciative messages for such a detailed and informative presentation. So we are highly obliged to Karthik Radia sir, Jayanta Chatterjee sir, and Debashish Ghosh sir for sharing their views and practical experiences that they have for past years. We are also thankful to Prabhat Kumar sir for sharing his time and sparing his time and being available for the session. And last but not the least, we cannot thank enough Charanjot Singh Nanda sir for arranging such informative sessions and calling such eminent personalities on every week, every Saturday. So we are highly thankful for the Internal Audit Standard Board for arranging such sessions for our members at large for all over India, sir.
Thank you, Rahulji. I would like to add 2 things, sir. Number 1, your board does a program every Saturday. And let me tell you, when we started, we had more than 2,000 members. Before starting 246, there were 1,700 members. And by 310, we had 2,000 members. I'm not aware now. It would have grown manifold. First thing. Second thing, your board is very passionately involved in not holding such programs. Every Saturday, we have such programs. And every fortnightly, we have programs on standards on internal audit. Specific programs. And I'm very happy to announce that in those programs also, the membership starts at 2,500, 3,000 members. So I want to tell you how much the membership is involved. I want to very candidly escalate that internal audit is a sunrise industry. It encompasses forensic into it. It encompasses risk management into it. But largely, it is an area where I have seen people grow. I know Mr. Karthik Radia when he was a very young boy with all black hair. Now I see him as a senior man with certain gray hair. So I've seen even Mr. Rahul Jindal, who's the moderator of the day, is a very established forensic auditor doing at least 20 to 25 forensic audits at one time. So we look forward, the board is passionately involved to ensure that membership at large works in tandem of creating alternative areas of practice where they can work and add value to the perspectives of the institute and ensure that our institute's flag flies at unprecedented heights and we are able to tell the world that is an institute which creates chartered accountants who are world class. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. With this, we'll close the session. Like every good thing needs to come to an end. So we are highly thankful to the eminent speakers and Nanda sir and Prabhat Kumar sir for sparing their time for this informative session. Thank you. Thank you all, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Very good night. Very good night, sir. Really obliged, sir. We'll hold most such sessions with all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.